You are living in the most dangerous time in American history.
We won't take a single back step.
Former professional basketball player is now the Republican Party's choice.
Can you imagine Royce White, the U.S. Senate?
White won the endorsement on May 18th with 67% of the vote.
There's nothing that guarantees we win, but I guarantee you if we lose, we will die. Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Please Call Me Crazy, brought to you by Free People Radio, powered by our favorite sponsor, TireGet.com. That's TireGet.com. You have to buy tires from somebody. You might as well buy them from us. Help fund the movement. Help support the movement. We believe in the freedom of movement, and that's exactly what the establishment wants to take from you now. Still wants to take from you. 295 episodes in. Today is November 14th, the year of our Lord, 2025. And we have the great Professor Penn back in studio with us again for another HEBROES edition of Please Call Me Crazy, the HEBROES show.
HEBROES. What could be more appropriate under current circumstances?
That's right. I don't think there is a more appropriate show.
Remember when we thought
or more important show.
Remember when we thought this up? And I think you said something like, this is going to turn out to be very, very important. You know, just for those of us that are wanting to see Royce White go to the Senate and shake that corrupt body up. Royce looked at me about 5 months ago. 5 months. It was 5 months ago. And you know what you said to me? I don't know if you remember this. You said, the number one issue of the 2026 cycle is going to be Israel. And at the time, people were still arguing about the Ukraine. I mean, it was on the radar because I watched the neocons and they were defending the Ukraine and I thought to myself, you know, you people are so worried that the America First movement could actually encourage a more humble foreign policy. And you're so worried that could lead to, we're going to let the Ukraine go. Oh, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, Taiwan. We need to die. Because underneath it all, because I was looking at the people doing the talking, it was really all about defending our outpost there in the Middle East, our outpost. And when you said that, I thought, you know, I get it, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. And now it's the only news that matters as we, in the Republican Party and in the MAGA movement, tear our shit apart over this issue.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles. Because right now, just today, the way it looks today, we need one. Do you agree with me?
Amen, sir.
Great.
Amen. I don't have. I mean, what more could I say about it? I think you've probably paid me the best compliment I could receive in the whole deal. And other than
prescient. If you want to lead the people and you want to be up front leading, it's good to be able to see into the future.
Right.
That is probably the best
right
trait of a leader.
It's one of the single greatest. I tell my young athletes, the greatest young basketball players, but not just team sports or team athletes, but solo athletes as well. Number one skill and trait is vision and being able to anticipate what's going to happen next. It's the number one skill in basketball for sure. And these things go unappreciated and under-acknowledged. But the subtle ability for a player to, one, see, things developing, see the floor, see the entire game, and then to be able to anticipate what's going to happen next is the most important skill of basketball. And fighting too. I guess in MMA it's probably the same.
What do you mean? Yes, of course it's
the same.
In fact, the coolest part about it is
same but different.
If you have, you trained in this skill. I mean, you were trained in this skill,
mm-hmm.
and you've been able to transfer it from one discipline to another. That's the difference between. How should we say this? Everything's the same but a little different.
Right.
If you're a piano player and you're practicing the piano and you're getting better and better at piano playing and singing, when you go in the ring, you should be better at kicking ass. If you're really learning how to do things the way we could teach all of our children. Like, this is a skill. I've been watching you on X, and you've been pretty vocal about, wow, is this really the way things are? Come on, are we really going to be dumb like this? Well, we could teach as a society, as Republicans, we could teach every child the number one and most important thing: how do you stay alive? How do you stay well?
Yeah.
Math is important, science is important. There are a lot of things that are important. But you could teach children to be well from birth till death, because you can be well when you're dying, right? It can be well with you. And we'd cut our healthcare expenses in half overnight because people wouldn't need to use the service. It'd be so simple.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
It makes me think. It just makes me think.
Apropos to our conversation today.
Yeah, it's like, what kind of a scam are we running here? Because what ends up happening, you look at, and I say this about government health care for young children that are in government programs for health care. Here in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, 25% of black youth that have government-provided health care are mortally obese. If the health care was so damn good and they loved the children so much, like they tell us when they stand in the well of the Senate, oh, those nasty Republicans, going to throw all these people. You know what occurred to me? People could get healthier by accident just because they got off the assembly line. If we really love these children so much, and I'm saying to myself, come on, Republicans. I was in an argument with the guy last night, a brutal, screaming argument in front of hundreds of citizens. And he was blaming the Somalis for the plight of Minneapolis. And you know what I said to him? I said, it's not the Somalis' fault. They just filled the void that the boomers left for them when they left the cities and abandoned the urban centers to the communists. It's not the Somalis' fault. Nature abhors a vacuum. If there's nobody showing up, who's going to show up as the worst skullduggerous assholes? And I'm just, I don't want to blame anybody. I mean, if we want to fix problems, we got to get involved in politics. So apropos to that, let me do a little just housework, okay? There is now if you're in Minnesota, and even if you're not, every Thursday night, 7 p.m., there's a great spaces called Minnesota Speaks. And it's run by some very dedicated, patriotic American citizens. And they're trying to set up a forum for people to talk and tell each other what's on their mind. And I rolled in there, and you know what I said? This is the Dan Schultz influence. I said, why are we talking about issues? We're actual citizens in Minnesota. The only thing we could be talking about is strategy and tactics to save our state from communism.
Yeah.
Because we all know what the issues are. Now, in a forum like this is where we talk about issues. It's kind of entertainment, a lot of it, because we're in the mood to have a good time anyhow. But when we get into these Minnesota or Wisconsin or Nebraska or Kansas groups of actual residents, man, we got to figure out how to win. And it's not sitting around talking about, oh, it's the Somalis' fault. Because it's not. It's just not. I mean, there's a handful of them.
Speaking of how to win, did you see the clip where Jasmine Crockett said that the Democrats need to watch the machines because allegedly one of President Trump's friends or supporters bought Dominion voting machines. I don't think it was Dominion. I think it was another voting tech.
ES&G or something?
Something like
Who
that.
knows?
I think she got it wrong. But nonetheless, she said, we got to watch the machines because they're trying to steal the election with the redistricting, and they may try to solidify the steal with the machines. Isn't that almost unbelievable for her to say? Well, not for her, but just in general.
Equity, the word equity, when I was a young man, you know what it meant? It meant what was the value of my share of my property in dollars. Someone would say, what's your equity in that house? I'd say, I don't know, $67,000. Okay? It was the value. It was my net worth. It was my equity. Now equity is we all got the same thing. So I'm going to tell you what the Democrat is very expert at. which is taking whatever you give them and turning it back on you. I'll give you another just perfect example. There's a state legislator named Pam Altendorf. I've had her on my show.
Yeah, Pam Altendorf.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she puts up a thing that Tina Smith took about $1.5 million in pharma money, and she was just frying her out.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go into Grok. Did any Minnesota Republican legislators or senators take money for pharma? And bang, out comes the list. Guess who's at the top? Julie Coleman, of course. Okay? Julie Coleman.
Norm Coleman's daughter-in-law.
Right. She's always talking about, health issues. I mean, she's right on the payroll. Jim Abler. I mean, names that we all need to know.
How much money did Jim take?
They all took small Duke, like $15,000, $6,000.
Yeah, they're on the payroll, though.
But it's training. It's training wheels. We're just getting you ready in case any of you jump up and want to run for national office. We're going to get you on the comeback. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It's like, here, we're going to give you
little here, little there.
We're just going to get you on the payroll. Just
Hands
a little,
on Gretel.
Just a little dabble, do
We're going
ya.
to crumb feed you, spoon feed you.
Spoon feed you, right? Exactly. We're going to bring you along slow, okay?
Baby food.
And then, so Pam Altendorf's throwing this brick through windows, and I'm thinking to myself, man, if we're going to be like that in the Republican Party and call out this corruption, because it is corruption, we got to not be corrupt ourselves. We got to clean up our own glass house first, which is what we're working on here at Free People Radio.
Well, that's going right to the heart of the issue, right to the heart of the Israel issue. How do we redefine American citizenship and the MAGA movement, which is deeply rooted in our sentiment about foreign policy, without discussing Israel and the Middle East? First, we have to talk about energy, because the entire religious, spiritual, Western civilization alliance with Israel was a scam to begin with. That's not why we were in the Middle East initially. We were in the Middle East for the energy.
We were in the Middle East
oil.
Initially for the Suez Canal.
Right.
That was the first.
Right.
I mean, I always like to go back to this because I find it very enjoyable to say. Christian Zionism predated Jewish Zionism by about 50 years.
Say that again?
Christian Zionism started in Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another whole conspiracy theory there we could unpack someday. The Britons. It started 50 years before the Jews thought of it, which means the Jews didn't think of it. It means they were put on the payroll. And you know who put them on the payroll? The Rothschild family. In modern terms.
Well, then they weren't put on the payroll. They created the payroll.
They resettled Eastern European Jews into Israel at the cost in today's money of billions.
The Rothschilds were Jewish, right?
And now we're getting into some really interesting territory.
Yeah.
Are they Jewish? I mean, like I had a guy roll on me last night and say some very anti-Semitic things at me. And I thought to myself, ooh, this isn't cool. I guess the first thing when we're sorting out who an American is and what an American is, we could start there. And then we can go into all these subgroups. What is an American? Because, you said it the last time we were on here together. You said, first question is, do we want to have a country? You said that. As if we still have to sort that out, which we obviously do. Because if the Supreme Court rules that those international emergency power reciprocal tariffs, what is it? It's the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA. If the Supreme Court rules that the reciprocal tariffs are unconstitutional,
we don't have a country.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't give stock advice, so I'm going to not give any, but I'm just going to tell you. It's really hilarious how this went down because, I'm in the middle of this as a Target.com.
Right.
Our favorite sponsor, just take a minute here. Royce and I forget to ask you to support Free People Radio. Do you know on the store right now, there is a baller new T-shirt.
Yeah. Just
right.
You saw it?
I ordered them because I'm going to start wearing them when I do my podcast. I ordered one for you too. Are you triple XL?
Oh, fuck off.
I didn't know what size to get for you.
No, man. I'm an XL.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm a large. I wear a large T-shirt.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
I'm 30.
Go ahead.
6'8".
Go.
270 pounds.
Yeah.
36-inch waist.
Great. there's people in the audience saying "fuck you" to you.
Yeah, I bet.
Anyhow,
Get in line.
no, seriously, we have this beautiful T-shirt at the store, and it came up, and I saw this with my own eyes. I was there. Royce and I drove. Now, Royce had worked on this, but I'd never heard it before. We drove from Minneapolis on a Thursday night to Park Rapids, Minnesota. And I'm going to tell you, there's more deers on the road up there than there is cars. I mean, we're up north. And there was like 200 Patriots and 150. What'd you say was there? 150
Yeah, probably
people?
about 150 people there.
And they were we had a bunch of politicians and a bunch of politician candidates, and everybody's talking. And Royce is talking about all the crazy shit that's going on. And you said something that was so cool. You go, hey, I'm not far right. I'm just right. You know, I went in the next day, I trademarked that for Free People Radio.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go buy that T-shirt, you're putting on a symbol. We are not the far, hey, you know what? Royce White is he's the last outpost. When you leave outpost Royce White, you are truly going to the far right. And it's out there, isn't it, Royce?
Oh, yeah. It's out there.
Which is another thing you warned me about.
Yeah.
Like about, 4 months before Omar Fateh became a household name. You looked at me and you said, man, you think it's bad? There's a dark forest brewing up in Minneapolis. You have no idea how dark it is. And I looked at you, I go, really?
Yeah.
And look what
I
happened.
didn't mean dark skinned.
No, communism.
Right.
Communism.
Yeah.
Something that's materialist and anti-Christ.
Right.
And I thought, wow, and then I said, well, that's looking ahead. So what do I want to have in my Senate? Not reactive people. I want to have proactive people that heal my country, because I want to have a country. And, you know, if we get a majority of people that want to have a country, and they could even be on the left, they could say, oh, maybe that's a good idea, having a country. They're far left. No, they're globalists. That's the definition thereof. But there could be some people left to the center that could say,
Obviously, there were, or President Trump wouldn't have won.
correct. Okay,
Right.
so we're going to have a country. Okay, now what is it? Before we delve into these subgroups, what is it to be an American? And I'm going to submit to you, I think I know what it is.
Okay.
And I think it's been stolen from us by 100 years of progressive education. Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution guarantees every state a Republican form of governance. What does that mean? It means something. It doesn't mean, and nobody's ever tested this, but if you have a state with a communist form of governance, like Minnesota, we could actually test that doctrine and sue and say we want to have a Republican form of governance. And what does that mean? It means that and if you're a leftist and because I notice these leftists sometimes come into your stuff, and mine too, just to say nasty things.
Yeah.
Right? It's cool.
Yeah.
But if you're a left,
Coon.
yeah, I saw that. Cool. Kike, I got that. Okay,
I'll wear it as a badge of honor.
I get mad about that stuff. Anyhow, Republican form of governance, if you're a leftist, would you like to be able to paddle your own canoe? Wouldn't you like to be the king or queen of your own life? That seems kind of cool, doesn't it?
I don't think that's a good pitch.
You don't. What is the right pitch?
I have no fucking clue anymore. My only pitch is to tell the truth.
Well, I'm going to go over this Republicanism.
Here's the thing, though, but I say that because, and I said this over the last couple of days after I posted the clip of Malcolm X talking about
White liberals
and the historical structure of the black community, hierarchy of the black community. And, there were plenty of people who liked it, plenty of black people who messaged me privately, plenty of black people who responded and said, this is spot on. Malcolm X was way ahead of his time. And Black America as a whole is remiss to forget just how profound Malcolm X's words are and how well they aged.
But he was an anti-Semite, wasn't he?
For sure.
Okay,
That's
and
what
you know
they
who
say.
else is super profound?
Who?
Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah, less profound than Malcolm, but definitely
No,
profound
the
in his
way
own
he
right.
talks to his Chicago congregants, he is so honest.
I think I know his grandson,
I didn't know that.
Mustafa. I told the story last night on the podcast.
I didn't hear that.
I'll tell you now.
Okay.
Mustafa was a very good basketball player, played Division I, if I'm not mistaken, at Virginia. And it was in Virginia came to play the University of Minnesota. I was still in high school, but I was at a University of Minnesota game as a recruit, and it was interesting because Mustafa came to play in Minnesota at the University of Minnesota, and he had 30 security guards with him. I mean, that's how he has to travel.
Wow.
He doesn't travel like that anymore, but at the time he was. And it wasn't until I got it later on in the Big Three that I met him. He was playing in the Big Three at the time. Now he works for the Big Three. So 2 summers ago when President Trump was shot, I was literally at the hotel with Mustafa when it happened. And me and him have a real good relationship. He's a really, really good dude, really, really humble, really nice, down-to-earth guy. You wouldn't even know he was Minister Louis Farrakhan's grandson, which is a big deal. I mean, Minister Louis Farrakhan is relatively wealthy. I wouldn't say he's super rich, but he's wealthy. I mean, he's well off. And so is his son, and so is Mustafa in some sense, although Mustafa, I would assume, is doing his own thing. But anyway, he's a real humble dude, right? You wouldn't even know he was his grandson if you didn't know. But we're standing out in front of the hotel, and I'm just receiving the texts and the videos of President Trump almost being assassinated. And I show him the video of President Trump being shot and then standing up and pumping his fist, fight, fight, fight. And you know what his first response was? He said, "That was the most gangster thing I think I've ever seen." And then he called his dad, Big Mustafa, who is Farrakhan's son, right? This is Mustafa Farrakhan, who's always standing to the right of Farrakhan.
Is he the heir apparent for the family ministry?
I don't know how that's going to shake out for the Nation of Islam. I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm not really close to anybody in it. I guess I'm friends with Mustafa because we come from the basketball world, but I don't really know the inner workings.
But let me ask just a question, as a sidebar, before you go on.
Yeah.
When you were young, did you used to watch
Public Access Channel?
WGN coming up from Chicago with rabbit ears?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
For those who don't know, in Minnesota, we get WGN, which is a local Chicago channel.
It's so powerful; it comes all the way up
here. And they used to run Minister Louis Farrakhan's sermons, his speeches at the mosque on the public access WGN, public access from Chicago, but WGN for us. And my mom told the story of her, let me watch it when I was a kid. And anyway, so I told him, I showed him the video, and he said, "This is the most gangster thing I've ever seen." Then he called his dad, Mustafa, who said he just won the presidency. Just now today, he just won the presidency. And it's Malcolm. Back to Malcolm. Malcolm was even more of an intellectual than Louis Farrakhan, in my opinion. But both, certainly wrestling with things, not afraid to speak their mind. I think Minister Louis Farrakhan probably gets a little more aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Than Malcolm really got. Malcolm was kind of laid back, kind of reserved, kind of suave in his approach, especially maybe because he was more of a public speaker than he was a preacher. But you can go back and listen to some preaching of him at the mosque too, where he gets intense himself. Still not as much as Farrakhan. But most of the clips
are public
facing
Louis
interview.
Farrakhan's was inside the community.
Yeah, he's a trench guy.
And unvarnished, and his critique is very self-governing. I mean, he demanded self-government. I can see.
And that's what I was going to say. What I responded to there are a lot of black people who are almost embarrassing in their lack of shame to rebuke and refute how true Malcolm X's statement about white liberals was. And my response to them, they said, "Well, what good is the Republican Party going to do?" Both parties, there's a real sentiment growing that both parties are
burn it down,
fucked up. Yeah. And what's the difference? And there's some legitimacy to that. I can explain the difference in a moment, and I can explain why black people tend to lean that way, and it's not as honest as they would present it. But there's perfectly good utility to criticize both parties. The fundamental difference is that American citizenship and the Republican Party or Republicanism is based on self-governance. Now, the question is, do people really want self-governance? Self-governance comes with a lot of responsibility, and that's why I think people don't. I don't think it's a good pitch, because my sense of things is that people are more inclined to give up their personal freedom and responsibility. When they say America is an experiment, that is the deepest spiritual meaning of that phrase, that America is an experiment to give people the highest formulation of self-governance possible. And the question is, in the end, the question will be, do American citizens, do the American people choose that freedom and self-governance, or do they revert back to the same sort of authoritarian and tyrannical form of government that has preceded?
Because they have the opportunity to blame an external power for their own condition, instead of recognizing that God, in my opinion, empowers each of us to create a world. What is that? There's a scripture, the little birds flying around, they always eat, how much more is a human being than a bird? These things really matter. And what we've done is we've gotten away from it with 100 years of progressive education. We've been taught to believe something else as if it is the truth. And it's just an experiment. And I understand why they made the experiment. I'm just looking at the evidence. If it was all beautiful and the budget was balanced and we were at peace and the people were living to be 100 years old and men and women had reconciled and loved each other and our kids were all smart and healthy and well, I'd say, hey, bring on the globalism, baby. It worked. Unfortunately, we're going in the opposite direction.
The results are not in their favor.
Yes, and past performance is a good predictor of future outcomes. And guess what, kids? The future is right now. So my whole thing, when I go to these groups like Minnesota Speaks, which I've been asked to invite you, so not next Thursday, but the following Thursday, all of us can go there. I mean, you can find it wherever you are in the country. It'd be nice to put, 10,000 people in that group. Why? Because we'd start aggregating a political community that could work together, and we can sort things out there. I screamed at a guy last night. I told you about that. The guy basically got very anti-Semitic. He didn't know who I was. And I could have just said, man, that was kind of hateful. But actually, here's what happened. This is what it is to be an American. A Somali woman came up to the mic, which takes some courage, right? Because people don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 people talk and hundreds listen. Walter Hudson showed up. It was cool. Anyhow, she went into a beautiful monologue about she's come to America. She embraces America. She loves the founding documents. She wants to be part of republicanism. She wants her children to be American.
Mm.
And then a guy shows up and says, okay, we should deport all 80,000 Somalis from Minnesota. And I'm thinking to myself, how are we ever going to win when we're basically taking that woman and saying, you know what, you want to join us, but hey, we're going to deport you, you're an American citizen, go caucus with the Democrats. And we wonder why there's polarization, because, we're more prone to stay with the devil you know than the devil you don't know. And there's that thing, there's the devil popping up, right, in her mind. There was a dude there that runs Alpha News. He was there, the head Goomba.
No.
Yeah, no, he was there, and I said, "Can I just make a comment, sir? Can I make it? This is hilarious." But that's why this group is great, because we can sort things out.
Mm.
I said, "Sir, I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to give you an opinion. I'm actually, because this is true, and you know who sent me there. This is another thing. I am a boomer. Royce started riding my ass about going downtown, riding my ass. Like it almost got to the point of, okay, I'm going to embarrass you if you don't go downtown. And I said, okay, no, fuck off, okay? I'm not going to be afraid. That's not the way it's going to be. But it's not normal for people out in the suburbs to go door knock and lit drop in North Minneapolis.
Right.
Guess what? I went, didn't I?
Yeah.
And we called all the volunteers, and here's what I was told.
I told you to go so that when these Republicans try to grandstand and grandstand over you and virtue signal, you can say that you've gone places they're not willing to achieve results that they haven't.
You know where I was last week? I didn't even tell you. I was on Arcade Street in St. Paul.
East Side.
East Side, baby.
Gangster.
Real gangster.
Mm-hmm. dicey area.
And the people said, but we haven't had anybody of significance. I don't want to say I'm significant, but for those folks, yeah, I am, because nobody from the party comes, right?
Yeah.
And the woman put the deal together, had tablecloths, and she had seats for 100 people. You know how many people showed up? 7. And our friend Paul Tucci was making calls to drive people there, and it didn't work. And she was so embarrassed. And I said, ma'am, wait a second. I'm here. I tell people I'll go anywhere, anytime, any place to talk about anything with anyone. I'm here. We got 7 people here. Let's talk to them and listen to what they have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you can put 3, each of you bring 2 other people so that next time I come, there's 20 people, I'm going to come back. And if we can get those 20 people to bring 2 people each,
that's politics.
I'm bringing Royce White, Walter Hudson, and everybody else, because we got a beachhead
in St. Paul
on Arcade Street.
In the Capitol. Stone's throw from the Capitol.
Stone's throw from, and see people go, well, why are you doing this? And at my house, why are you doing this? I can't even explain to people. So I go back to the Alpha News guy. I said to him, I said, sir, I just want to share an opinion with you. I'm actually in North Minneapolis, and I live in CD3. And the CD3, boomer Republicans, my age.
Boomer cons.
The boomer cons, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are terrifying the hell out of these people about young black men. Because every day I look at and I said to him, is Minnesota Crime Watch part of Alpha News? He said, absolutely. I said, every day a black face. I said, you're doing 2 things where I'm trying to get these 2 communities to cooperate. You're scaring the hell out of the white people, and you're making the black people hate the white people. Could you stop? Could you do something else? And you know what he said to me?
Of course not.
Yes, that's right. He said, well, unfortunately, who commits the crime and what their skin color is, I do not control. I just report on it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, okay, no reason to have this fight now. And why I say that is, hey, we're here on Free People Radio. We understand news and editorializing and what you cover and what you don't. Right. You know, it's almost like, are there no white criminals in Minnesota? My God, there's probably many more crimes committed because it's the majority population. But you wouldn't know it watching Minnesota Crime Watch. And that offends me not only because it's my time. I'm trying to make a community. Sunday, I'm meeting with a bunch of people from Minneapolis. So you're
saying that, and I I agree that there's a flip side of the coin. There's a tendency in this country for black people to make excuses about the crime that emanates from the black community, and that's abhorrent. I mean, that's just as dishonest and ridiculous. Every time you say young black men kill each other at a rate 10 times that of young white men, black people tend to say, well, but what about white people and racism, which is a lack of sacred honor and integrity, intellectual integrity. But at the same time, I think what you're saying is institutionally, there seems to be an impetus to criticize rather than educate. And it's okay to criticize. But at what point do we start educating? And if the answer is we're not going to be able to educate until we win the elections or until we win the game of politics, then we may have to sacrifice some things until we win so we can educate people to be better than they are. Is that your theory of the case?
My theory is if we're trying to create a political community, a real community. This is a problem with politics. People use each other. That's not authentic. It's not authentic. People don't want to get used. They want to get scammed. They don't want to be lied to. Mm-hmm. Like we saw that thing, that forum that Starr and Sickle put on, and they had Senator Duckworth and former Governor Pawlenty, and they both talked about to get elected, you have to perform the trick. And I'm thinking to myself, trick? What kind of bullshit is this? You mean as a Republican, for me to win, I have to trick somebody? No, I don't want that kind of politics. And that's kind of the inverse of what I'm talking about over here on the news reporting, because if we're trying to create community, any Republican, if you're in whatever state you're in, let's say you're in Kansas or Missouri, whatever state you're in, if we don't go back in to these urban areas and liberate these people from the dependency and the depravity with which they become imprisoned, It's really over. I mean,
Well, apropos to what you're saying, I mentioned earlier that I can tell people why blacks choose the Democrats, and it's not as much about the honest critique about the honest critique of both parties, the honest criticism of the uniparty, the rightful criticism of the uniparty that exists, but that's not why black people choose Democrat at 95%. I mean, in order to get 95%, you always have to look to fear. And the fear is, and you conservatives have to hear this well, and your conservative thought leaders have betrayed you in this way, maybe more so than any way else. When I heard David Frum, and that's why I ran that debate again, and I might run it again between Steve Bannon and David Frum. When I heard him say that the whole point of conservatism is to conserve what is best about liberal, I knew exactly what the whole problem was. I mean, it was almost a perfect diagnosis of the crisis in Western society, or in America, let's say, but really the West. The battle between conservatism and liberalism is really a scam, and Alexander Dugan pointed that out.
all the blocks,
Clean.
they're all misaligned.
Clean. So the reason why black people select Democrats at 90%, 85, 90%, is the same reason why the German people selected the Nazi Party at the height of the Third Reich, is out of fear. The Democrat liberal order has had the power for the last 70 years, and black people intuit that. They know who has the power.
What are they
We-
afraid?
we
What are they
pretend-
afraid of? When you say what is the community afraid of? When you say that it involves fear.
They're afraid of being on the wrong end of the bullying. We in the conservative movement, we like to pretend as though the Democrats and the liberals are punks, and we're the tough guys, and black people are just siding with the liberals because of a narrative. That's too convenient. That doesn't really get down to the heart of traditionally why we see 85, 90% of a demographic vote in a certain direction. It's usually based on something much, much more pernicious. And I think this is more pernicious, that the Democrats and the liberals have been punking conservatives in this country for the last 70 years. And black people are going with what they think is a safe choice. They're going with the power.
Picking the winner.
They're picking the winner. That is really the whole deal.
I've noticed that when I go to what I think Walter Hudson called it.
And I want to say, that is not an honorable thing for black people to do. Let's make that clear. I'm in no way saying that it's excused or justified that black people side with Democrats or liberals because they have the power. That is not an honorable thing whatsoever. But it is the case. It is the reason.
Well, I've noticed it with Walter Hudson on the call last night. He talked about the Somali community, the Hmong community. I think
Same with them.
He called them emerging constituencies. And I'm spending a lot of time with these communities, and I do notice their willingness to align themselves with where the power is in their own reckoning. And I say, really? And then here's what they say back. Well, you've been here many generations. We're brand new. And it's the same kind of a thing.
Right.
So what I say again, one of my favorite Free People Radio ideas, hold a principle, move people towards the principle. And that's the education part. That's why we're doing the podcast. It's about reaching out to people and giving the audience arguments that they can use and frameworks that they can use to talk to their friends and their neighbors and their coworkers and their children. Because if we don't do it, oh, man, we got it. Well, you always say this, and I agree with you. We all get a chance to work out our own redemption, as we go down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, we all get to decide how the country burns now.
Right.
Yeah.
But it would be nice
if we could save it.
If we could save it, yes.
Well, we got to deal with Israel. We got to deal with this Israel issue.
I feel like this has nothing to do with ethnicity or as a party participant. I've been seeing this coming for a long time. I think both sides of the football are willing to tear the parties apart to maintain power. They'll shrink in, have less people, more coherent, and push to the outside the populists on the left and the populists on the right and consolidate power in the center. And I see that going on in the so-called, whatever you call it, the MAGA movement, America First movement. That is, I actually see a dude, and maybe I'm wrong. I should ask you. Here's my understanding, and let's get the terms right before we wade into this. Because when this first came out, I have to be disclosing, I had no idea what it meant. Woke right. And how I've come to understand that is that it's the use on the right of identity the same way identity is weaponized on the left. Is that right?
No.
Go ahead. Define it for me then.
The way the Mark Levins of the world tried to use the term woke right was to say that there are anti-American, anti-Western sentiments on the right wing regarding Israel that align with the Free Palestine, sympathetic to Muslims or friendly with Muslims that you see on the left. That's what they were saying. Now, my contention is that the hallmark of woke leftism, woke left-wing politics over the last decade or so has been the impetus to censor and silence, the impetus to expand definitions to wherever they see fit to fit their political agenda, the impetus to gaslight and pretend like what you see is not what you see and what you hear is not what you hear. That is the hallmark of woke in America or in the West, worldwide. And I think the woke right are the people who tell the rest of us American citizens who we can and can't criticize, who we can and can't speak about, who we can't, question.
So you're saying that Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro would be the sine qua non.
They are the woke right.
Okay, and here's what's happening out there.
And here's an even better example. No, the better example is, just like they say online or on X after Elon Musk purchased it, that there was a rise in racism on the platform. If you expand the definition of something, you're going to see an uptick in the numbers. If you expand the scope of a thing, you're going to see a rise in measuring that thing. That's sort of scientific almost.
That's lies, damn lies, and statistics.
I mean, so if you expand the definition of racism, you're going to see a rise in the statistical measurement of racism on, let's say, a social media platform. If you expand the definition of anti-Semitism, you're going to see a measurable rise of anti-Semitism on the social media platforms or wherever else they're saying they're seeing a rise of anti-Semitism. Now, am I saying there's not a rise of anti-Semitism or there's not a rise of racism? There may be, but that doesn't make their definition any more legitimate. In fact, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to simultaneously have a genuine rise in both things and have people who are, playing fast and loose with the definition. And to make the number one way I would say that they're the woke right is look at the specific way that definitions have been used by the woke left. Two-spirit, science, man, woman. They've literally created their own definition to fit their political motives and agenda. And that's exactly what this Israel First crowd is doing. They're saying anti-Semitic is anybody who
criticizes Israel,
or anybody who is too sympathetic with Muslims, or anybody who wants Palestinian children not to be killed, or anything that threatens the security agreement we have with Israel and our role in the Middle East. Which, if you criticize the foreign policy of the Middle East, you are effectively anti-Semitic in Mark Levin's eyes.
Well, we've experienced that.
They call Bannon an anti-Semite. He's on the record saying, I'm a proud Zionist. I mean, when you start calling the publicly admitted and self-described Zionists anti-Semitic, I think you got a problem.
Do you remember we were at the convention and I ran in. My cousin was there.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen him since maybe I never saw him.
Mm-hmm.
I just recognized him, and I recognized him. I said, "Are you so and so?" I said, "I'm your cousin." And we started talking, and he said, "Who are you going to back for Senate?" I said, "I'm going to back Royce White." He goes, "Royce White? He's an anti-Semite." I said, "Wait a second. Would you like to meet him?" Remember, I brought him over,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked. And he asked you, "Do you support Israel and the Jewish people?" And you gave a very measured answer about foreign policy, that no country is beyond scrutiny. But as far as the Jewish people go,
Yeah.
and you know what he did? No, this is funny. You don't know this part. We walked away. I said, "Does that satisfy you?" You know what he said to me? I don't believe him.
Well, but the quiet part out loud is that his first question, and this is
Oh, you remember this?
No. I don't remember it, but I'm going off of your your memory of the situation. The quiet part out loud is the first question he asked is, "Do I support Israel?" Why would the first question you ask me
Because that's the only
as a
thing.
United States senator is whether or not I support a foreign country?
Well, if you now we're okay. Now we're going to wait out.
Is that not the quiet? I mean, is that not the buried lead right there?
Well,
He came over to me. You brought him over. And his
Yes.
first question isn't about America or American citizenship or American policy or the border or
Healthcare.
the debt or affordability. Yeah.
the Fed.
None of it.
No,
No, his first question is, do you support Israel?
that's correct.
That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
I've been thinking about this week, and I'll tell you why I've been thinking about it. There's been a lot of talk around the campfire about why Omar Fateh lost.
Mm-hmm.
And how it's being fenced around the campfire is that there are different tribes in the Somali community. And there's one tribe that has Omar Fateh, or Fatah, if you want to be a nasty like me. And then, of course, his clansman, Ilhan Omar, they're in the same tribe. And the other tribes are saying, hey, wait a second. You guys are taking all the benefits for your own group. What about all the rest of us Somalis?
You're trying to consolidate power in one tribe.
And you know what? They said, no, we aren't going to do that. And then they came out in mass.
To support Jacob Fry.
Yes.
Oh,
I
interesting.
even sat down with someone who said, I'm the one who made that happen. Somebody I'd like you to meet someday. And I started thinking about this tribal consciousness because, I'm born Jewish, raised Jewish, speak Hebrew, read Hebrew, studied the Bible in Hebrew, used to pray 3 times a day in Hebrew, kept the Sabbath, walked on the Sabbath, kept kosher. I did the whole deal until I walked out. But even when I walked out, I was still thoroughly, in my mind, Jewish. Now, I've had some things happen to me, and we know the story. We'll have to go into it today. It kind of opened up my vision. That kind of experience doesn't leave you any opportunity not to. But I started thinking about tribal consciousness relative to the Somalis. Because the statement was made by a Somali that the Somalis are more loyal to their clan than any other. That's
Identity.
And I thought, damn, PhD, doctor, pillar of the community, wearing them expensive suits from the Men's Warehouse, looking good, going to synagogue, got the kids, daughters at Columbia, got the whole thing working. But really, that's a tribal consciousness walking around there. And didn't sort through, like my cousin, why was that the most important question? Because a tribal consciousness is at play here.
Mm-hmm.
Forged in survival, because, hey, people have been on the move for a long time, baby. 2,000 years on the road, okay?
5.
Well, if you want to get serious about it, yes. And, that tribal consciousness, and I'm going to say this for the anti-Semites listen, and, I do this stuff, people go, oh, they say nasty things. You don't know me. Go watch the Professor Penn podcast. You'll get to know who I am and where I'm coming from. And what I'm saying is to the Jewish people, why would I say this? There are Jewish people in this country who love this country. Let me tell you why I know this. This is critical we understand this. The Rothschilds spent billions of today's money back in the day to move Jewish people from Eastern Europe to Israel. Why am I here? How did I end up here? And I got cousins over living on the West Bank. How did that happen? I'm going to tell you how it happened. There were Jewish people back in the old country, and they said to themselves, I'm not hanging around with these socialists. Fuck these people. They don't believe in God. I'm not going over to a war zone to be some pawn for a bunch of communists. I believe in God. I'm going to America, where I have economic freedom, I have religious freedom, and I'm going to make my life in America. And the entire Jewish community in America is here because somebody in their lineage knew what the choice was and decided to come to America to be Republican. They wanted to live in a republic. Now, come on, people. I mean, you have permission as a Jewish person to love the United States of America and let go of your tribal consciousness and still be Jewish and still believe in God, if you do, which is a whole other part of the equation.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be caught up in something that our forefathers rejected. See, we forgot that and I was there, okay? Israel started in 1948. I was born in the 50s. Man, the PR job that they put on young Jewish people like me, the brainwash job, you don't know how
What
many.
do you mean?
Oh, baby. I was going to Hebrew school. That's where we go to learn the faith. Unlike you progressives that learn whatever you learn, they sent me to learn about faith in God. I'm not saying that I got all the lessons right, but at least I got a principle. And, about, 63, 64, 65, 60, they started parading Israelis through the educational institutions of the Jewish community in the United States. And they all said the same thing. A people without a land for a land without a people. Let me say this again. I was about 6. A people without a land for a land without a people. And my mother said, my mom's a leftist, right? There's people there. My dad, Misha, there's people there. My dad went to the yeshiva. Barbara, it's Eretz Yisrael, please. So the fight was going on in every home about what was the identity. Well, how do we make sense of American Jew? And then would you like to plant trees in Israel? For just 50 cents.
No.
You can plant a tree in
No.
Israel. Yeah. You can be part of Eretz Yisrael. You can plant a tree there. And you know how many trees I planted there? How many 50-cent trees I planted? And when I was all collecting 50 cents everywhere because I wanted to be part of the land, baby. And the brainwashing just kept going and going and going. Then it was, oh, wait a sec. The Palestinians left by themselves. We didn't push them out. There was no killing. Forget about it. They could have been there with us, but they chose to leave their homes, leave all their possessions, walk out because they didn't want to be part of the land of Israel. Like, I'm going to leave everything. And we believed it, like the magic bullet theory. Same thing. You tell it often enough to a young mind.
People believe shit.
I have a tribal consciousness.
Like the moon landings.
Don't push me. Don't fucking push me now. Okay. Although,
Building 7 you can deal with, though.
Pardon me?
Building 7 you can deal with.
Yes.
The moon landing's a step too far.
That's Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
This is one small step for man, one giant leap.
I'm not saying we didn't land on the moon. I'm saying those videos look ridiculous.
That's funny.
Those videos are fucking crazy.
Hey, did you hear that out there? All those people that call Royce a conspiracy theorist. Hey, fuck you. Deal with that one now. I'm not saying we didn't land on the moon, but those videos are hokey. They really are hokey. They're hokey.
They look crazy.
They're hokey.
Yeah. But I get what you mean. You say something enough times.
Well,
people
to a young mind,
believe it.
I'm talking about
That's why the advent of social media is so dangerous. But keep going.
Well, okay.
So you guys were planting trees, and then it was the Palestinians they left voluntarily.
They left, and it was a whole, the Jews were going to the Holocaust, and people went there, and they were making kibbutzim, and they were farming, which is a big deal, because Jews are metropolitan people. So then here's a bunch of Jews that said, okay, we're going to reclaim the land. We're going to plant dates. Oh, yeah, look at the... And then these people...
Love dates.
But here's the program that's the most
Are
important.
there dates that come straight from Israel?
Oh, yeah, baby.
You give me some of those dates? I bet those dates are good as hell.
I think my date privileges are
Revoked.
Anyhow, no, this was the killer
They
about
pulled his date privileges. That's crazy.
They did.
Revoking your date privileges is crazy.
They did.
Okay.
Okay. Now I got to finish this because this is cool.
Go ahead.
So we're raising money and we got these flags, and at Hebrew school, it's Eretz Yisrael, and then the main thing that drove it, you got to get this right. I was about knee high to the grasshopper, but everybody that stayed behind in my family in the Ukraine got clipped out by Ukrainian Nazis. And I know how they died. My grandfather told me the stories. And, I always was asking myself, why didn't these people rise up and fight back? Because we had films of people getting on trains and passively, there was an uprising in the Polish ghetto, which is famous, and there was resistance. But more often than not, out of fear, which the same thing will happen here if things get out of control, people will report to the station to be removed to the internment camp. And I understand that. People are afraid. They don't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to feel pain. I mean, I get that. But for me, as a young American, growing up with John Wayne and Robert Mitchum, Richard Widmark, Kirk Douglas, I mean, we're talking about some ass kickers, right? And then I'm looking at my people, and they just walked into prison and just walked into gas chambers and just died. This was so disturbing for me. I used to dream, I had a recurring dream all through my childhood where I revolted in the camp and disarmed a German guard and got his gun and started shooting the place up and ran for the wire, and I didn't make it. I died on that wire dozens of times, recurring nightmare, because it was so hard for me to understand the passivity. And then guess what happened? 1967. The war in Moshe Dayan, he had that patch on his eye. You know what I'm talking about, the guy with the eye patch?
Mm-hmm.
Dashing, with gold in my ear, dashing. These people were dashing because it was a big PR job, right? And we only saw them at their best. And the Jews, in a miracle of 6 days, defeated 5 Arab armies.
This is the Yom Kippur War?
No.
That's
73. This is
73.
66. This
66.
is 67.
67.
This was the big one. This is when the Jews, there's getting in the ring for a mixed decision. This was a knockout in the first round. A knockout, clean. Step back, right cross, boom. The Arabs all fell down, and the Jews took back Jerusalem. And I remember watching on that little black and white TV in my parents' kitchen how proud I was, because these motherfuckers were killers.
BB's brother, right?
No, he died downstream at Entebbe in
but that same military branch of the...
Oh, the fact that the Jews had given up being, as you would call them, metrosexuals, and had actually turned into fucking warriors, which that's what Judaism is. It's a warrior religion, got beat. The Romans won. Romans 21, Jews 0, end of game. Hit the road, Toad. And off the Jews went into the diaspora. They lost the war.
They won a lot. They won some battles there in that first revolt.
Oh, they did. They were bad, but they
lost.
They lost, okay,
yeah,
and they lost. And the rabbi said, you lost because
you didn't keep the faith.
And you didn't just not keep the faith, you got fucking corrupt. And God, because he loves you, because you are a special, not chosen, a specially anointed people, and I'll speak to that too, God is going to reproach you because he loves you. So hit the road, just like the Israelites hit the road after Egypt. They had that little dance at the golden calf with Dathan, and God said, okay, 40 years. Every one of you motherfuckers are going to die except for Caleb and Joshua. And he killed off everybody. That's the story that I was taught. Because you people did the worst thing you can do. You worshiped an idol. Fuck you. like worshiping money. That'd be the same thing, worshiping mammon. So I was so invigorated that my people who had been beat down with the ugly stick, and you got to realize I was growing up with people that had tattoos on their arms and were so psychologically compromised by being in those camps, they couldn't talk. I mean, you just get together with them. Like I was cutting the lawn of my next door neighbor. They were in Auschwitz, husband and wife. They couldn't talk. They looked like, man, you see these people that have psychological problems. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. These people,
you can see it in
you
their eyes.
You could feel it and see it in their eye. And I'm cutting their lawn this year. I go up to the kid, can I have my money, sir? Speaking in Yiddish. And he's paying me, and this is going on for. Finally, one day, after many years of cutting their lawn, would you like to come in for some tea? Sure. Whoa. The door closed behind me. I have post-traumatic stress disorder from that because then the stories come out like the Ukrainian Nazis caught my family, and my wife was 21 years old and pregnant, and they shot her right in front of me. And we had a young daughter, and the Ukrainians said, she's not worth a bullet. And he picked her up by the feet and smashed her head against a tree and killed her. And then they shot me and left me for dead. And I survived, and I lived in the woods for 3 years, and that's why you know me. Stories like that.
Shit.
Yeah, right. Like, what?
Yeah.
They shot you, left you. Where'd they shoot you? In the belly. You lived? Praise God, I don't know why I lived. And because that guy went religious. But what happened to most of the Jewish people that I knew is they just couldn't square the circle. And they said, man, there's no love in God. For this kind of thing to happen, we're going to go globalist. We're going to have to believe, and this is for this guy that got anti-Semitic with me last night. The Jewish people believe that their best bastion against another genocide, we were brainwashed to believe that, number one, it was having the nation of Israel, and that, two, the United Nations, which had given birth to the nation of Israel, which, remember the first time we ever talked, when you blew my head off my shoulders? Israel's the linchpin of globalism. That was your, thanks, Royce. Hi, nice to meet you, Mr. Penn. Did you know Israel is the linchpin?
That's why they said I'm anti-Semitic.
Yes, that's correct.
Which is crazy.
And then they said you used globalism as a word, just a word, when you declared for Congress in 22, and the Star Tribune said, dog whistle for anti-Semitism. And then the classic was we were standing in front of the Federal Reserve.
You were with me.
I was with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, there's a Jewish lobby. And I said.
And some Jewish elites ran the Fed.
Yes.
Have recently ran the Fed. Just
and they
categorically
said, and then
true.
they said there's no Jewish lobby. That's what there's no.
And they said there is no such thing as Jewish elite.
Yes, that's correct. That's
to
correct.
say Jewish elite is anti-Semitic. I go, wait, what?
And you said, is there black elites?
What does that say about all the working class blue collar Jews that aren't running the Fed? What do you mean there's no? So how is the left leaning liberal media that is entirely predicated on a socioeconomic have and have not framework, because they're Marxists, going to tell me that this one group of people has no elite class? That's the type of dishonesty that's making people anti-Semitic.
It's the kind of dishonesty that's making people want to burn it all down.
That's right.
And so I look back and I think, okay, so I'm so proud that my people stood up. Now, you have to understand this from my shoes now. Man, we were beat down so hard. I was surrounded, and you're not my age. 1965, there was no Jewish nationalism here in the United States. Didn't exist. People are it's 20 years downstream of the Holocaust. People are trying to figure out what in the fuck just happened to us. What happened? Why did this happen? I feel guilty because I survived. All my brothers and sisters died. Why did I live? And people were really caught up in trying to make sense of that. And then 67 happened, and those young, a young soldier is beautiful, full of health. There's something invigorating about killing people. I mean, that's just the way it is. And you saw them, and they're killing Arabs, which, by the way, subhumans. That's just the way it is, being honest. Subhuman. And that's no different.
That's the prevailing thought about it in the Jewish community?
This is prevailing thought about it in the Marines. I mean, when you send people off, like one of your competitors, a SEAL, when he's in country, you know what they called the Arabs, the American military? They called them two descriptors. One is hard for me to say. Sand.
Niggers.
Correct. Sand. Again, sand.
Sand niggers.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the other one, they called them Hajis, which is from did you ever see the cartoon on television, Johnny Quest? You know what I'm talking about? Haji. That's what they called them, Hajis. And I'm thinking to myself, man, you are dehumanizing people. You're going to kill. There's nothing unique to the Jewish military, the Israeli military about that. It's not the Jewish military. Nothing unique to the Israeli military. But we were so proud, and then the shit started to run downhill. Soon as we got proud, first thing that happened, oh, shit. First of all, there's no religious Jews in Israel. They're all Zionists, all socialists. It's a socialist country.
Back then or now?
67.
Okay, right.
Socialist.
Right.
I mean, really socialist, which means communist, according to Marx.
On the record.
On the record.
It's not an opinion.
Just read his shit, right?
The early state of Israel was a socialist.
And Marx said that socialism is a lower form of communism. It's just a transitory form.
Right.
And they were organized, and the kibbutzim were collectives. It's a collective. Collective. It was a collective. Okay. So then they won. And then the religious, this is the part I have to figure out. Don't have it figured out. All these religious people that I grew up with, they were not down with Israel. They weren't. And then the whisper campaign started. Shit, those godless communists got control of the Western Wall. We better get the fuck over there and protect the holy sites because they'll fucking bulldoze it and build a 7-Eleven.
Wait a minute. So, go.
I'm saying the people that were in Israel were socialists.
And so the religious Jews that
in
were
America saw that Jerusalem had been recaptured
by a bunch of atheists.
And they said, we got to go defend the holy sites. And they went over there, and we know some people like this ourselves in common. And these people went full retard. Like that movie with, you know what that movie I'm talking about? They went full retard. They went full, you can be half retard, but they went full retard with the nationalism, which is not Jewish. And I don't know how, I got to figure, because I dropped out. I don't know how that happened, how we went from, I remember the last time I went to Chabad, I was at Lubavitch, and I looked at my chair when I came to pray, and there was a thing there in Yiddish, a paper coming off of a copy machine advocating for a first nuclear strike on the Soviet Union. I said, you know what? I don't think I can be hanging around with you boys anymore. You've lost it. Something happened, and I haven't figured that out. There's a rabbi over in St. Paul, Rabbi Feller. If you're hearing this podcast, you're welcome to come on here. We actually have one of the head international. We got the Louis Farrakhan of Lubavitch living right over in St. Paul. As a matter of fact, we do. I knew him in the day. I used to pray with him. And he's got a channel on YouTube. He's got about 50,000 followers. He's serious about it. But something happened, and the community went more and more and more and more. I'm talking about now the American community became very Zionist. And here we are. And somewhere along the way, somebody said, hey, this Christian Zionism? That's pay dirt. We got to pull that out. And this Reverend John Hagee, who is a student of a previous generation of preachers that they preach faith and healing. These evangelicals, the original group, didn't say shit about Israel. They only were talking about walking by faith and not by sight. How if you have a serious disease, that with faith you can heal it. You don't need the doctor. And I'm not giving anybody medical advice. I'm just saying it was a different kind of evangelical Christianity. And then downstream, we get the Christian Zionists pop up out of nowhere. So then we got this really intense Jewish Zionist group, generally speaking, not very religious. And I don't know what that has to do with anything, because most Jews in America don't practice Judaism. They just don't. I mean, maybe a third of the Jews here do, the black hats.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip with the black hats hosting Mandami right after the election?
No.
Oh, it's hilarious. Go watch the Professor Penn podcast.
What happened?
There is a short that is on the Professor Penn podcast. It's called Mandami and Fuentes, Politics of Powerlessness. I put a clip on there. Mandami is wearing a kippah like Ben Shapiro. They actually kind of look alike.
Kind of talk alike, too.
Yes, they do, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And the most religious Orthodox Lubavitch Jews are hosting him for a lunch and toasting him and saying, we wanted to meet you. We knew you were a very nice-looking young man, and we have a lot of feeling about you. We think you're great. We're so glad to meet you. And Mandami's sucking it up with a straw. It's like, okay. Now, what is the moral of this story for all you people that want a conspiracy theory? Yes, it could feed lots of conspiracy theories, but let me tell you what it really is. There's millions of Jews that live in New York, and they want to self-govern, and they want a seat at the table. And if a communist is mayor, they're going to talk to him. That's all there is to it. Could it be a conspiracy theory? We could make something out of it. What do you see there?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, if you look at that
How religious
clip,
are these religious Jews? So your theory of the case is that the religious Jews stayed there in Israel.
Went there
in Israel and have stayed there in Israel to protect the holy sites because they have a religious interest.
Yes. That's my theory of the case. Yes.
And there is a very strong criticism of the Zionist movement by certain religious Jews in Israel, no?
And all over the world. I mean, there's millions.
There's also a secular criticism of Israel.
Horseshoe anti-Semitism comes from the left and the right.
Of the Jewish community.
In the Jewish community. There's leftists.
I remember what's that guy's name, that old Jewish dude named Mike Held?
Oh, Mike Held.
I remember when Mike Held came up to you and you told him you were Jewish, and he said, what synagogue do you go to?
And I told him I'm not going.
And he said, you're not Jewish.
That's what he said, yes.
Remember that?
I do.
So it's okay for him to say, if you don't believe in God or practice the faith, you're not Jewish, but not me?
You know, it's even deeper than that. And I'm sorry, if you're listening to me and you go to Temple Israel, which is a very reformed Judaism, whatever that means. Reformed Judaism.
What does that mean?
It means they're not practicing like the black hats. They've assimilated, and they've got a new kind of religion.
Okay.
It's a kind of a new age Judaism.
It's like non-denominational.
Yes, that's nice. Well, anybody can go. Like, for example, for me, if I go to Chabad, to Lubavitch, and I bring my non-Jewish partner, you know what they're going to say? Fuck you in the Horseshoe Road Inn and get out of here. Because, see, they're not looking for converts, and they're not, in their mind, they're not putting any time into foolishness. So they don't want any converts they're purists from the old book, okay? So you ask how religious they are. Well, these are the same dudes that were manning the tables in the temple. So how religious are they? Well, some of them are very religious, and some of them are very sincere about faith, and they pray 3 times a day, and they mean it. And then there's guys that pray 3 times a day, and they dress that way, and they're stone fucking gangsters.
True of the Catholic Church and
the mafia
and the Islam too.
That's correct. Yeah. What a great disguise. I mean, if you want to rob and steal,
fuck little kids.
I haven't really been able to wrap my mind around that as far as the Jewish community, because the whole point of being Jewish is Isaac being bound on Mount Moriah, and then Abraham not having to kill him. So the emphasis went from, you're my kid, you're just like a fucking goat, I own you, to, no, you're a child of God. That is the essence of monotheism. That's why they got all this Jeffrey Epstein shit and all this child stuff, and because it reverses the core fundamental of the Christian religion. Let's just call it the Christian religion. We protect and nurture our children. We don't throw them into pits with wild dogs for entertainment, as I was told that the pre-Islamic tribes did, and we don't sacrifice our children to idols and false gods. We don't do that. That's not what Christians do. And then my question for the Christians would be, why are we abandoning children in the inner city to depravity if we don't do that? We don't do that. I mean, if we don't, you mean those children over there are not worthy of our protection? Aren't we supposed to protect the weak? Isn't that the essence of the whole deal? Well, apparently not. See, because shit's kind of run downhill. But no, there's a lot of very religious and humble, but then there's some that are not. And
so what do you make of Mark Levin and Shapiro?
I think Mark Levin is an unhinged propagandist, and he is willing to conflate ideas in a way that I find, and sorry, Mark, you're welcome to come on and call me an anti-Semite. I find it rather Goebbels-esque in his ability. And I mean Joseph Goebbels, the propagandist for the Nazi Party, he'd do that. He'd take two ideas, like, he'll take the idea and say, okay, there's these terrible Islamic terrorists, and if you don't support the nation of Israel, you're with the Islamic terrorists. Now, that is a logical leap of intergalactic proportions. Just because someone criticizes or questions American foreign policy vis-a-vis Israel does not make them Confederates of global jihad. It's a crazy, ridiculous kind of a conflation of ideas. And the endless harping and the endless shraying and draying and the endless shilling is so transparent even to me. I have to say, come on, I have a tribal consciousness, but give me a friggin' break. Do you guys have anything else to talk about? Please. Is there anything else that matters? Anything else that they put forward that matters is just a break before we come back to
the
Israel.
Punchline.
Yeah, the punchline. Mm-hmm. Do you know, I read this morning. You're going to love this. So I got two things this morning that were amazing, and I'm going to send you this article. The Republican Jewish Committee, Norm Coleman's
Coalition
project, yes. They sent me I'm on the list, and they sent me an email, and there was a long article about Israel has lost the youth support in America, and let's have a conference and be honest about it and figure out what we're going to do. Well, that was a rather stunning thing to receive. So we're understanding in America, the constabulary, when I say we, we're all Jews in our tribal conscience, the thought leaders, of course, I'm not going to get invited, but they're going to get together to figure out, you know what that is? A fucking diversion, because I'll tell you what's really happening. There's going to be a bill that gets jammed through fucking Congress, and they're going to put in place a 20-year security agreement with Israel so that nobody can come. You know who put in the last one? Oh, that'd be Barack Hussein Obama. 10 years, $3 billion a year. A gift, $30 billion. We love you so much.
I saw a headline today that President Trump just approved $50 billion. There was a number. I don't know if it's true or accurate, but there was a tweet or a post on X. Somebody said something like, you get 50-year mortgages, they get $50 billion.
I don't know if he's got the power to just do this with an executive order. Maybe he does. I don't know. We're getting to this kind of expansion of executive power. But I read, and I'm going to study it over the weekend, that they're going for 20 years of cash. Because, if you're going to lose your support and there's a treaty or a contract, hey, no problem. Complain all you want. We're getting the weapons. Because in the core of the Uni Party, there's no disagreement about this issue. It's on the left and the right, horseshoe anti-Semitism, they call it. Because if you even question this funding, you're an anti-Semite, including me, a guy that's still prays in Hebrew. I think in Hebrew. My whole thing is,
You're Jewish.
Yeah. It is. And then, so I'm saying to the Jews that are listening, hey, you know what? You can extricate yourself from an ideological straitjacket and start to look at things and investigate them in a search for truth without a tribal consciousness. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, here's what's really offensive to me is that the Fox Newses of the world, the Mark Levins, and even at one point the Tucker Carlsons, and I think this is partly why Tucker Carlson has had the change of heart that he's had, is because he sees the intellectual inconsistency of his life's work. Is if we can say black, if we can talk about black people, because that's what Fox News does, right? I mean, more or less. They're talking about liberalism, sure, you know, it's Democrats, communists, okay, but a lot of it is the black community is a problem, and it is a problem. But if you can say black, if you can name the black community by name, by race, but you can't say Jewish, then it's a non-starter intellectually.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, if you can say white by name, and the left does, and you can say black by name, but you can't say Jewish by name, like the Star Tribune and who was it? KSTP's news director, they put out a
Hauser.
Yeah, the news director, they put out a blurb that said Royce is anti-Semitic because he said there's a Jewish elite. You can't say Jewish elite.
Was I in a room with you when you were sparring with that guy about that issue?
You were there.
I was. Yeah,
you were there.
Yeah, and you guys just went round and around. Because you know what? This is a little bit of a magical space we're in here. You know, like, it starts with this. I was about, I don't know, 5. You're a chosen person. You're the chosen people. Jews are the chosen. Over and over again. Brainwash. You know, I got to a certain point in my life and I thought, really? How's that supposed to fucking work? Like, I'm really that special? Because I know myself. And I know all the rest of these motherfuckers. Okay? So, if we're so special, we're really fucked up. Okay? I mean, we take it to a very... I just ask everybody to go back and watch a great movie from 1956, The Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, and find the scene where Moses is coming off the mountain with the tablets. And he looks down at the people, and these motherfuckers are having an orgy with a golden calf. And he said, "Woe unto you, Israel! Woe! You have sinned a great sin against the Lord your God. You're not worthy of these commandments." That sounds kind of appropriate. Because, you know, what did Mike Tyson say? The devil doesn't waste any time on you if you're not a player. The devil comes and works on you if you got the you got the juice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the Jews have the juice. Now, let me tell you why the Jews have the juice. So here's for the anti-Semites. Let me tell you the punchline here. Are you ready? This is why you hate the Jewish people. Why? A tremendous emphasis on family. A tremendous emphasis on learning and the ability to create critical frameworks of thought. A network of people that you work with in your own neighborhood. Common goals, and here's the common goal. Protect our community and get fucking rich while we're doing it. And here's how we get rich. We get up every morning when people are asleep. You know this watching me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the office, a lot of days, 6 o'clock in the morning. When do I go home? 7 o'clock at night. Now, in my case, for you fucking Republicans, I want you to listen to this. I'm not doing it to get rich. I'm doing it to heal my state. And I'm working on it every day like you went to basketball practice. Did you ever miss basketball practice? You
No.
did occasionally, but it was super fucking occasional, right?
Had to be injured.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're on, and I know from picking you up, you're almost always right on time. So for all you people that make these allegations about Royce, you're not correct about this. He's super on time, super responsible, because he's trained. See, this shit doesn't happen by accident. You know, I told you the guy that trained me, the one that really did the training, here's what he said to me. If you're late, you better fucking be dead, because nobody's late. And so occasionally people show up late for whatever reason. Maybe their car broke down. Who knows? I don't know why they were late. And the guy'd show up at the field to train. "Sir, can I join the squad?" Look at the guy. "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm Gary so-and-so, sir." And he goes, "No, Gary's fucking dead. You're Bill." And that guy for the rest of forever was Bill. So when he got kind, he called him Gary Bill. But, my point is, you don't get these skills by accident. And what Judaism is, it's a transmitted culture of creating reality. Just like it says in Christianity, whatsoever you wish for when you pray, believe you'll receive it and ye shall have it. That was spoken by Jesus Christ, a Jewish rabbi. Where do you think he got it? Do you think he made it up, or was he saying something from the Torah? Oh, it was from the Torah. He was just, George Carlin has a great comedy skit where he takes the 10 Commandments down to 2. Because he's working this idea of there's 2 great commandments. What Christ did is he took a very complex, very difficult religion to live up to.
Made it accessible for everybody.
And he made it
First
simple.
for the Jew, then for the Gentile.
And he made it simple. Hey, do these 2 things, and everything's going to come from there. I didn't come to abrogate the law. I came to fulfill it. He didn't say, hey, we all get to go crazy. He said, no, let's get down to the basics of the culture. What are the fundamentals? Don't be standing around in street corners dressed up in black suits with hats on and bobbing back and forth, and what you're really doing is selling drugs on a street corner. Please, that's horseshit.
Is that happening?
Albert Bourla?
Go ahead, proceed.
Well, you don't have to proceed much farther than that. That kind of says it all, doesn't it? Because
No, some people probably don't know the story.
Okay, everybody wanted to be a rabbi. Everybody. My father went to rabbinical school. If you were a Jewish mother, you know what? Did anybody ever think that you should be a priest, Royce?
Plenty of people.
Even me, I told you should go to the monastery, didn't I? Because you know what? It was, before science, the most revered role in culture. The person who mediated between man and God, the priest. Science came along, and guess what? Priests got put on the down low, and guess who went into the up position? The doctors. So now every Jewish and Chinese and Indian mother is brainwashed. Right now, today, in my own household, I have a partner with my son, brainwashing this little son of a bitch to be a doctor. And when I say to him things like, I shouldn't say that because he's my kid, but hey, dude, is there anything you ever think you might want to be besides a doctor? But see, the mother has been so effective. He looks at me and goes, no, that works fine for me. And there's all these Indian kids and all these Chinese kids, because now doctor is the number one role in the society. It still is, but it has been a little bit besmirched since COVID. Wouldn't you agree with me?
Yeah.
And what we find is because Jewish people get up early, great emphasis on family, great emphasis on education, great emphasis on learning how to think critically. You got to be? Oh, fuck you. It's not like there's no performance awards around that campfire. You have to be the best. It's every family is the drama of the gifted child. My father told me I was the smartest kid in school. My mother told me to try as hard as I could. You put that 2 together, boom, you get crazy, right? So I had to have the top grade. I had to be the top in everything, best at everything. And that's what it is.
You were pretty smart, though. You went to a pretty prestigious college, didn't you?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't like it, and I'll tell you why. You ready?
Yeah.
They were teaching faggotry. I'm telling you, this was 1976 now.
Thanks. The podcast has surely been demonetized now.
No, I'm sorry, but I have
Any
to
chance we have for this great message to be
I went to an all-male.
out to the masses.
I went to
gone.
all-male school. We were being groomed. I was 17 years old. I'm pissed about it. I was recruited. I left that school because half the men in that school were participating in a lifestyle that I couldn't do, number one. And it was Marxist. Every class was Marxist. And I'm thinking to myself, shit. And I don't have any problem
This
with
was in
1976.
So all the way back then, they had taken the universities already.
Completely taken over.
Even the prestigious
East
Ivy
Coast,
League.
yeah. It was, and when I say that, I mean, I know it's a terrible word.
So the people who went to this college, were they, what, They were recruited. They were tested in an aptitude. Were they trust fund kids? Were they?
We had a lot of kids that went from private schools, like my suite mate, my freshman year. Pierce Homer, the third, graduated Choate, private, all the way. Another one of my roommates, he became the headman of like the National Lutheran Church. I mean, crazy. Another guy I told you that I went to school with. Remember that name, don't you?
Yargos.
Mark Garagos.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he was dashing. And I was just a dumb shit kid from St. Paul. I went to college early because I was smart. I got thrown in with think about it now, I was 16 years old. And because they ran out of rooms with freshmen, they stick me in with 2 stone criminal juniors. I walk in my suite, and I look on the bed of one of my suite mates, and there's a 5-pound bale of pot sitting there on his bed. I'm 16 years old. It's crazy. But if the school was so debauched, and when I say that half the men, and it was an all-male school, were involved in homosexual lifestyle, and there was pressure to be a homosexual, it's like, man, I can't do this because I was raised in a traditional culture. These identities, like being male, it wasn't up for a conversation. So it created a lot of distance. I had to get the hell out of that life. And when you say back then, yes, every social science class.
So you chose the Jewish gangsters. You had to go home to the Jewish gangsters.
As a matter of fact.
You needed a suppository. No pun intended.
It was a little bit of an overcompensation. Yes. But my point is but this is something that's also critical. They weren't talking about Israel. It was only 76. It was before all that got going. You know what they were working on? Fucking up the crown. Every class, sociology, anthropology, psychology, was all about the dynamics of colonialism. And these professors were working their way back to who's going to pay back for this bullshit called the colonial enterprise. And they knew it was the crown, the monarchs of Europe, and they wanted that fucking money. And you know what the crown did?
Absorbed them.
Put them all on the payroll. I mean, back in those days, a college professor's making, I don't know, $14,000 a year. 20 years later, $250,000 a year. And we're going to say that these people have sacred honor? No, fuck you. Yes, you heard me. You guys sold the fuck out. No honest inquiry. No critical thinking. Sell an ideology of globalism. We're right back to the linchpin of globalism, right?
Yep.
Now, we're going back to a time when nobody was interested in the Palestinians back then. They were what Herman Kahn called sand in the gears, right? Israel at one time, believe it or not, you're all too young, Royce's audience. At one time, this fucking country was the cock of the walk. We loved Israel. A democracy. Our only democracy in the Middle East. Oh. Because they've kind of mind-fucked everybody. It goes, okay, we got a right wing, right? And then we got democracy. And then we got a left wing, a right wing, the Nazis. Left-wing communists, right-wing Nazis. The center.
It's democracy.
Democracy, our loving democracy. The way it really works is, and I know I've said this, but maybe I didn't say it for you. Nazism and communism are both movements of the left. It's called national fucking socialism, okay? Hitler was a socialist, a leftist. And they fought it out in the streets to decide who was going to run the deal. And them fucking Nazis, they're badass, okay? They beat the living fuck out of those communists, okay? That's what it was.
In Germany.
In Germany and throughout Europe. They just went to town on them. They said, fuck you people, and they killed them. And there was a lot of Jews in there because they were aligned.
A lot of other people, too.
That is correct.
The Romani, the Gypsies, the Catholics.
But the communists were associated for the Nazis as a Jewish movement. Because Marx, Trotsky, and all the rest of them, Beria, they all happened to be, formally, their fathers or their grandfathers were Jews. Now, this is another thing we got to get straight about this Israel thing and the Jewish thing. Hey, when you're a communist,
you're not Jewish?
Fuck you people. Come on, wake up. These people are communists to destroy Judaism. Their first impulse was to destroy the religion of their fathers. That was the first step.
Oh, you know what's funny about that? The first standard IQ test, B'nai,
Yeah.
Jewish, came from a Jewish family, but didn't practice the faith. There's that for you, Nick Fuentes.
Hey, Nick, come on now.
IQ is secular, Jewish,
Darwinist. It's a scientific.
Yeah.
When Jews go into this scientific thing, I don't care if they go to fucking synagogue.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you now. You hear me what I'm saying? To be a Jew, it's the same thing as being Christian.
Believe in God.
Not just believe.
Submit.
It's everything.
Yeah,
There
faith.
is not, that's the whole, you realize that you're just dust in the wind. I love that song from Kansas. Everyone's just dust in the wind. You know it. You're just here for a minute. No reason to get egotistical about shit because, you're not going to be here very long. So shut the fuck up. Keep your head down. Love your children. Contribute to your community. Pray. Thank God for everything. I just told you on the telephone. I remember, and this is going to sound strange to you all, but, every time I take a piss, I thank God. Because you know what? If one of them holes close up, even for a few days, and this is in Hebrew in the morning prayers, if one of those holes close up, even for a short period of time, I'm dead. Because when that prayer was written, you couldn't run down to the doctor. There was no doctrine. Your doctor was the Most High God. You wanted to live under the wings of the Most High God, like Psalm 91. Where are those people? We're kind of like that. Here. That's why they call you crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Please call me crazy.
That's another T-shirt at the Free People store. Go ahead. What do we got at the store? We got the new stock in of
Just Right T-shirts.
And
that's it right now.
I thought we had the Jesus Saves T-shirt or Jesus is King T-shirt, didn't you?
On the Royce White for Senate website.
Can't talk about that either, can we? Sorry.
I don't think so.
It's just it's worse than my fault, boss. Sorry.
It's all right.
Please excuse me. But these T-shirts are symbols of a movement. And yeah, you get to fund Free People Radio. We're trying to expand the program and we need the support. We really want the support. We're asking for it. But you get to put this thing on and you're part of we got to identify. Hey, what do the leftists wear to symbolize leftism? Do they have costumes that they wear, Royce?
For sure.
What are they?
Rainbows.
Rainbows. Stole it right out of the Old Testament, those smart professors. They took the rainbow. They took equity.
It definitely is a huge fuck you to the Christians.
Oh.
100%. I've always thought that. I've always thought that the use of the rainbow was
a reversal.
A deliberate attempt to offend Christians and reverse. Yeah, the reversal.
It's a reversal. That's what Satanists do. They want to reverse everything associated with Christ. That's why you see they got the upside down. When you see, we don't see this too often, but if you happen to be galloping along the path and there's a fork in the road.
Upside down cross.
And there's three dudes with their heads chopped off on crosses upside down. That's a reversal of your faith. They're scaring you, motherfuckers. And so we've got these beautiful costumes that we want to proliferate. And when you got to buy a T-shirt. Everybody, I just bought
T-shirts are badass. They say just right on them.
Oh,
they're great.
I'm going to be wearing it on the podcast soon.
I got to order myself one too because you fucked up the size.
I didn't know.
3X, you're going to have me looking like I'm a 300-pounder. T-shirts don't get longer. They just get wider because America's fat as fuck. So
I didn't know. I thought they were longer.
No, they don't get longer.
They just get wider.
They just get wider.
Could look like a prayer shawl. No, the point I'm trying to bring out is that why do Chinese people do so well? For 100 years or maybe 70 years, the most educated and most academically accomplished community in America was the Jewish community. Right. It's been passed now by the Chinese community.
Right.
Because that's why Chinese and Jews kind of can hang out. I mean, at the end, it's going to be a fight, but up until the fight, because they have the same value, family, education, and they are the only motherfuckers on earth that for New Year's, you know what they say? not Happy New Year, not have a healthy New Year, may you get rich in the new year. So these people are, they're godless communists. So, I mean, they're totally focused on the money. My God has a lot in similar with the Jews, right? And you know what
and
we
they
have?
believe they're chosen.
And, they most certainly fucking do. That's a fact. But, there's an interesting thing for us that are listening, because, we're going to have some people in the chat that are watching this just to criticize.
Yeah, they're going to say,
Ziocons, what do you call them?
Royce is giving a platform for this Jew to tell us to cope for Israel. Then the other people are going to say, Royce said that Jews who don't believe in God aren't Jews. He's an anti-Semite. And then Mike Hill's going to say, Professor Penn doesn't go to synagogue. He's not Jewish. And then they're going to say, oh, well, Royce and Professor Penn are platformed on War Room, so they're all anti-Semites. I mean, it's just never-ending fucking bullshit.
I am not anti-Semitic. What I am is anti-war. That's what I am,
Amen.
okay? I'm anti-war because I believe it
Especially
says...
forever wars. Mark Levin came out and said the quiet part.
What did he say?
He said the quiet part. I saw he was on a rant about these fifth column isolationists. He goes, well, there's good and there's evil. And so the war against evil never ends. Hence, a forever war. You're in a forever war. There's nothing wrong with forever wars.
I saw him say that. And when I say he is a vile propagandist, that comment right there, and it's very anti-Jewish, that comment.
Is it?
Thou shalt not kill. Where is your brother?
Thou shalt not.
I don't know.
Thou shalt not. Wait a minute. That's wrong interpretation of the script.
It is? Thou shalt not kill?
Thou shalt not murder.
Not murder.
Different. Because the leftists and the utopian egalitarians make the case that we shouldn't fight a war ever because you shouldn't kill. That's not true. There's a time to kill. Question is right now the time to kill and at what extent? What extent?
I understand what you're saying.
Like, you
about
and I
Miss
disagree on this.
How about
I don't
aim
give a
small?
shit what Israel does. You and I disagree on this. I'm much more radical. I think I'm a
Wait
little...
a second.
Yeah.
Why would you say, you don't care what they do?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I have to care. I'm Jewish.
Okay.
It's my house.
But I mean, as an American citizen, I think I'm a little more to the extreme end on Israel's side than some of these people who are popping up now criticizing them. I'm criticizing them because they think they can impugn upon American citizens what our foreign policy should be, or what we should say, even at a more fundamental level. But as far as as far as policy goes, I don't give a shit what Israel does. If they want to fight in a sand pit in Western Asia,
go for it
with the Muslims or whoever else. It's not for us to decide. It's not a matter of if I think it's right or wrong. Now I have an opinion on the morality of it, but it's kind of like I was saying the last time we talked regarding this whole nations that sit upon stolen land are illegitimate nations. It's not lost on me that a George Soros, another Jewish guy who apparently you can't name as being Jewish for some reason,
he's self-professed.
Even though he funded the rise of the anti-Jewish and anti-Israel sentiment that exists today in America for sure, but maybe in all of Western society, maybe globally. And there are a lot of Jewish elites who help fund the rise of an anti-Israel, what they call an anti-Israel sentiment in America and in the West and in the rest of the world. That's what Charlie, they talk a lot about Charlie. Now there's a fight about Charlie, right, in the conservative movement. There's a tug of war of Charlie's legacy.
There's tug of war everything now.
And Charlie's at the center of it. What did Charlie say? Well, I saw Charlie make this point, and he made it pretty clear. He says somebody has to answer for the fact that all of these wealthy Jewish lobbyists and donors help fund the rise of the left and the anti-Israel sentiment and the anti-Semitism that exists today. I mean, it was kind of a self-inflicting wound.
1976.
Exactly.
East Coast. I was there.
But my contention is that there is a left-wing movement that wants to delegitimize Israel on a political basis so they can delegitimize America. There is a left-wing movement that says Israel's illegitimate politically as a political entity because it's on stolen land.
And
The same thing is true of America. And then if you get really down into the weeds, those who even agree that you can have a legitimate nation on conquered land would say, but Israel couldn't have won that war without America's support. Well, you could say America couldn't have won the Revolutionary War without French support. And I'm not saying that to defend Israel or Israel's policies, because I'm critical of it. And I do think what they did in Gaza was wrong. Ultimately, wars are won and lost, and it's tragic, and people die. There are more people dying in Ukraine right now than in the Middle East or in Israel or Gaza. But at the end of the day, it was heavy-handed, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And, the world will judge. And I guess the world gets to judge. That's part of the heresy of democracy.
Well, that
the
goes.
world gets to judge whether it was right or wrong.
Well, that goes back to.
But they've already decided.
But that goes back to the hierarchy, understanding that the youth are no longer supporting.
It's already been decided it was wrong.
Okay.
The world has spoken.
So let's talk about.
But my point is this again. There are people who make the claim that Israel is an illegitimate nation politically. That's a separate issue. I'm not buying that. I'm not saying that Israel is not a legitimate nation. Any nation that fights a war for its territory
and wins,
whether they are recognized by the United Nations or not, like the Kurd territory there on four
or Somaliland,
where if you fight a war for your territory and if you're organized enough and willing to defend it, and you want to name it and give it a culture and give it a start up a history,
bleed for it.
You're a fucking country. Okay. Now the question is what Israel is impugning upon America right or wrong? And our politicians as well. And it just so happens to be the case. I don't give a shit what Israel does. I'm not telling them. See, this is how they try and outflank us. They go, well, you're siding with the Muslims. You want the Muslims to win? No, let Israel do whatever the hell they want to do. If Israel can defeat the Arabs, if Israel wants to fight the entire Arab world, I think they got the juice to do it. I actually do. I don't buy that they were running out of missiles. Maybe they were, but I'm not buying it. I think that at best the attack on Israel was, it was unsuccessful. Let's just say that. I mean, there wasn't much success, because if there was, we surely would have heard about it. Surely they wouldn't have missed the chance to propagandize how many Israelis were lost in these coordinated attacks from the Muslim world. So they just didn't happen. There wasn't a mass casualty of Jews after October 7th with the back and forth with neighboring Arab countries. That just didn't the casualties weren't there. So I don't really think that Israel, first of all, I don't believe that the Arabs are as united as everybody pretends they are. And I don't think that the Arabs really want to decouple from the West. I don't, they talk about the Saudis and Islam, and I'm not defending Islam, because I think Sharia law is incompatible with the West. And the only threat that Muslims pose to America or the West is what happened in Europe. Is that they come in, they get organized, they take political power by way of cultural sentiment and propaganda, anti-Western propaganda, and they become the politicians like Ilhan Omar is here. That's the only threat that Muslims really pose,
which only can happen in a void of political participation.
But there's no real threat of the Muslims over. I don't think there's really any real appetite. Look at Erdogan. The heart of the Turk longs for Vienna. And
I just
Erdogan says that he's issuing a warrant, war crimes of Bibi Netanyahu and Erdogan, give me a fucking break. And President Trump says Erdogan's my friend. No, he's not. Erdogan's nobody's friend. Erdogan's a fucking crook. After October, how do we side with Israel in one sense? And then you got a guy who stood up after October 7th and said, cross versus crest and east versus the west. We must defeat our enemies, trying to rally the Islamic base in Turkey. And the whole time the Turks want to be European. I mean, the whole thing is one big fucking theatrical Zoom. I'm just not buying it. Get us the fuck out of it. I don't want to be involved in this shit. If you guys want to kill each other, unfortunate, we'll pray for your souls. Go ahead and do it. But I don't want to be involved. I don't want to send our troops. I damn sure don't want to be paying for it. It's real simple foreign policy.
You want to know something? In the few minutes we got left,
Yeah.
I call for another session.
Okay.
Because we just started to work on this.
Yeah.
It's so important. First of all, how many people are going to take this on like this? I mean, really, I want to go through every layer of this because this is being used to smash apart
The Republic.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the new wedge issue.
Yes, it is.
And
as I predicted.
As you predicted. Could it have some biblical implications?
Amen.
Only if we let it. Now, and why I say that, if everybody today, collectively, how many people are on the earth?
4 billion? 6 billion?
Whatever the number is.
8 billion?
8 billion. I think it's 8 billion. According to people.
I'm using 1990 numbers.
No. We don't fucking know how many people are on the earth. We're taking the word of guess who? The United Nations. Okay. 8 billion.
Yeah, because, a billion people could go missing every now and then, and who the fuck would know the difference?
$2 trillion of weapons went missing.
That's right.
So
next is going to be a billion people.
But my point is, if all the people on planet Earth today, for some miracle, went across the face of the earth, and we all decided collectively that we're going to put our weapons down and our wounds down and love the Lord our God with all our heart and all our soul and all our might and love our neighbor as we wish to be loved, is the apocalypse inevitable in that circumstance? Obviously, to me, it's not. That we have, as American citizens, the power of creation. So for the people that hate the Jews and the Chinese, they're good at creating shit. That's it. And you know what? It's not fucking magic. It's not being chosen. It's called getting to practice on time, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Doing the deal.
And doing the deal every day until it becomes muscle memory.
Is that why the Chinese lobby and the Israel First lobby has become so opposed to the great Steve Bannon? Because he's a good example of doing the deal, getting there early and doing the actual deal.
Yeah, and the fact that he is intellectually unmoored from traditional narratives. He's willing to look at things in ways, that's why he's a thought leader. Because he's saying, wait a second, what the fuck is this? But he has to go, have you ever seen that picture of Steve when he's about 23 years old in his Navy whites? Oh, I don't think, Steve's like me. Most of the boomers got old and dried up. There's a few of us that stayed young at heart.
Got some juice left.
We're going to figure this shit out. This shit happened on our watch.
Take out your number 2 pencil.
Take it out, right? But
I love when Steve says, take out that number 2 pencil.
We're going to have to come back. He used to have a Jewish rabbi on all the time. He passed away, that rabbi.
You talking about Zev?
No, he had some.
Zev Zelenko?
No. He had a.
Who, by the way, and it was one of the few people who endorsed me for United States Congress.
Oh man, I was so unhappy when
I was sad when Dr. Zev Zelenko died. Yeah,
great.
I talked to him in his final months. I mean, we were talking back and forth.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that Zev Zelenko endorsed me?
I didn't know you were talking to him.
Yeah, I talked to him many times.
No, man, I would have liked to talk to him.
His wife was sick, and his wife was having trouble too, and then he got sick, and he passed away.
He was so brave. Man, that fucker was brave. But in the last 8 minutes, I want to go over something that you and I have talked about, and it's a great way to close and set up the next. Because I think HEBROES was made for this moment. That's what I think. I watched Nick Fuentes. So for all the Jewish people that want to call me an anti-Semite, let me tell you, the motherfucker is entertaining as hell.
Yes, he is.
He is very fucking talented. He's so talented. I myself would like to have little Nick wear off on me the theatrical part because he's likable. I mean, he can say the most skullduggerous shit, and you go, wow, this cat is fucking likable. Well, he's talking about shit that is, to me, ridiculous. And I want to just hone in on one piece, which you brought up earlier, which is the IQ piece. We talked about this on the last podcast. I think it's critical that we understand what Darwinism has done to our youth, like Nick, because to me, he's a kid. He's educated, probably went to public schools. I don't know. I mean, somebody in his background put some kind of fucking Calvinist, European Darwinist, materialist concept about human flesh and the focus on genetics. Oh, hey, there's nothing. Does he purport to be a Christian?
Yeah,
Could we help him sort this out,
I'm
Royce?
trying to.
I mean, because this is critical.
Because sure as the sun will rise, he is coming.
Well, this movement,
People better get comfortable with the idea. As sure, say what you want, Mark, Ben, anybody else at the Daily Wire, doesn't really matter. As sure as the sun will rise,
Glenn Beck.
Nick Fuentes is coming.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
No, he's arrived.
No, he's just still percolating on the surface. When I say he's coming, I mean at some point in the near future, all of these 18 to 30-year-old disaffected white men in this country are going to figure out the political process. They're going to hit the caucuses. And when they hit the caucuses, there ain't going to be enough American or Israel.
Not enough boomers to go around.
There ain't going to be enough boomers to hold them off. And that's the one part that they haven't organized yet.
Could we just get to this very important group of people that this IQ thing? What did you say? Who came up with the IQ concept? Who was that guy?
A French Jewish man.
Oh, a French.
French anti-Jew. Let's call him what he is.
A gino.
That's right.
Right. Jews in name only.
A French Jewish guy who didn't practice the faith.
Because if he was practicing the faith, IQ wouldn't have a fucking thing to do with it.
Right. Because the spirit and the intellect are inextricably linked.
That's right. So what we're doing here on this,
especially for Catholics, hold on, especially for the Fuentes cohort who are a bunch of young Catholic men, and I'm gonna have AJ on to talk about the Catholic theology of this. Is in the Catholic faith, there are two primary drivers of man. It's the will and the intellect. And I think the Protestant movement has more of an emphasis on the primacy of the will, as to where Catholics and the St. Thomas Aquinas of history said that the intellect is prime, that the intellect there's a primacy of the intellect, that without the intellect to be able to discern the choices that the will can choose from, there is no will. So it's kind of a first principles philosophical argument and theological argument, but the intellect is prime in Catholic theology. So you can't have the spirit and the intellect without one another. That's why our faith is so profound in many ways. Is because
so when people just say it's just about the IQ and that there's racial differences in IQ,
or that IQ is static in general. This is the same argument that Hillary Clinton makes about the deplorables in so many ways. She says, you stupid, rural white people don't understand high society and academia, right? It's the same argument. And you see it rise across, there's a propensity towards totalitarianism and authoritarianism that makes a broad claim about the static nature of IQ, for sure.
And then my experts are better than your experts.
Yeah.
And who are the experts?
Assholes.
Professional assholes, not just assholes.
Demonic, anti-human.
Yes.
Satanists.
So what I'm trying to do with you tonight is we're trying to lay the predicate, the groundwork for a long exploration of these issues, lest we become captured in this unnecessary wedge issue. It's complete scam. It's a psyop. It's, you know what?
The psyop.
They're playing the final. I mean, hey, if they could have kept it at the outpost of Ukraine, this would never come out. But we charged the gates, and we all said, oh, fuck this Ukrainian thing.
Yeah.
We don't want to fund it. And they freaked out. Taiwan.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck about Taiwan? Even Donald Trump don't give a fuck about Taiwan. Taiwan, what do they got there? Chips. Build them in Phoenix. Fuck it. Okay. Xi, as soon as we get them chips out of there, and they passed the CHIPS Act to do it. And guess who passed that? I'll be goddamned, it was Joseph R. Biden. So on certain issues, we have broad bipartisan consensus.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's not always wrong.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing. That's why we can unify. When we stop.
I think Biden did the chip thing just to save face on his on his China shilling, but that's my theory of the case.
That's $50 billion for just research in the universities.
No doubt.
Okay, they didn't. It wasn't.
It's a twofer.
It was a big play. We're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
It was great.
No, we got a few minutes. We got 10 minutes. Go ahead.
I want to come back and keep working on this because they're trapping us.
In a Gordian knot. Yeah.
I was on this call last night. Minnesota Speaks. Please come to it every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. And this guy rolled on me in a very anti-Semitic way. And he had didn't know me, didn't know what I believe, never listened to a podcast. He goes, "Oh, I think I'm listening to Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro." Oh, fuck you. I mean, come on.
You're the anti-Mark Levin.
I am the sheepdog in my own community.
You're the guy that they won't bring on any of these mainstream shows because you're so anti-Mark Levin. You're so opposite of Mark Levin. And it would add too much. I actually think people are afraid to engage with you and bring you on. Like, I mean, you got to think all the people who've watched me now watch the podcast. They're tracking it, right? They use clips from it for their.
Mm-hmm.
They never mention you. I mean, they never mention you.
Great.
In any articles, they never mention you in any reports. They never mention you as being involved with the campaign or affiliated with the campaign. They never mention you. And I know what it's like to be deep sixed and sort of shadow banned and not spoken about because they fear you, because they barely mention me, but they never mention you. And it's because you threaten to destabilize the whole narrative.
Can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
This is for all you out here. This is going to sound real spooky. And for all of you out there, I can be real spooky. I just am a very grounded, everyday go to work guy, but I've had some very out there experiences. In 1984.
Like dating a Satanist? Save that for another podcast.
You mean, okay, thanks very much. Haven't we all?
Yes, we have.
Thank you for your honesty,
yes,
young
we've
man.
been around the block. Yeah.
I was on a fucking airplane in 1984 with a very senior guy in the agency. And I wasn't in the agency. I just happened to be traveling with them because we had mutual interests. And I was very young. What was our mutual interest? I was hanging the suit up in a fucking closet. I mean, I was just young. And we're in the plane at about 35,000 feet, and I couldn't even talk to this motherfucker. He was so scared. This guy was a stone fucking killer. I was so nervous around him. It was just crazy. I never talked. He looked over at me in the airplane. He goes, "Mr. Penn." "Yes, sir." "Do you know you could be a leader of the Jewish people if you want to?" And I looked at him, I said, "Sir, I haven't been in a synagogue in many years. I'm hanging around with you. I'm not hanging around with Jewish people." He said, "No, if you choose to, you could be a leader of the Jewish people." And that's an experience I actually had. And so here I am, full knowledge of Old Testament, New Testament, all these unique experiences, and it's all about my people. And we're so fucked up and hate ourselves so much that we're willing to hate each other. And who's going to win in this hatred is the most skullduggerous fucking people in the history of the earth. We're a eyelash away from a digital ID and digital currency, and that's the end of the republic. So they got us fighting with each other over the most ridiculous of arguments like, "Oh, are you white, Ben Shapiro?" Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No,
goofy.
Jews are not white. Ben, just say it. Say it loud and say it proud. And you know why we know that? Because the same motherfucker that's going to come to string your ass up, he ain't going to say, "Oh, you're with us, Mr. Penn. Come over here with the white people." No, they're going to have a rope for me too. So, we're fighting over shit that is meaningless. You know that the Muslims have a great saying. The people that everybody's afraid of, me and my brother
against my cousin,
and me and my cousin against a stranger. These fucking people that are coming are strangers. You talk sometimes about reuniting the Protestant and the Catholic. Better fucking happen right now. Jewish, Catholic, Protestant, better happen right now because we're out of time. And if we don't find the commonality that binds us together as American citizens, what is it to be an American? The Constitution of the United States and the philosophy of republicanism. And you might say it's not a great pitch because people have given up everything for convenience and safety. Well, fuck you. You better get off your ass and jab.
Right.
Because we are citizen sovereigns. We are.
People crave tyranny.
That is a sick fucking reality, isn't it? The way you said that made the hair on my neck stand the fuck up. That is like saying people crave
subjugation.
S&M. It's kind of an S&M.
It is a sadomasochism, isn't it?
It's fucking awful the way you said that. I can't relate.
Me either.
Is that the preponderance, in your opinion, as a senatorial candidate of our population?
Yeah, I'm trying to inspire and motivate people to be brave enough to crave freedom more than they crave the convenience of subjugation and tyranny.
And you know what the thing is? Maybe it's.
But I'll say this: I think people are right. You know, this is why I was saying the other day about the disproportionate scope of sin relative, let's say, a young black man who kills another young black man out of passion or anger versus a military-industrial complex that views human beings as inventory. The sin is multiplied, and it is the case that, and this is why Jesus was so critical, I think, of the priests in the temple, is because when you have a position of leadership and authority, especially intellectual or spiritual leadership, cultural leadership, the weight of your sins is multiplied. And our institutions in this country and around the world have certainly bastardized and demoralized people to the point where it makes sense that they crave tyranny. It makes sense that your average 18-year-old liberal white woman is so cynical about the world that she says, fuck it, give me Mom Donnie.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does that liberal white woman value her physical health?
No, of course not.
Really?
Her physical health? You kidding me?
I'm older than you.
She's on cocaine. She's on Percocet. She's doing Ozempic because she's got body dysmorphia. She's, got strange.
Are we getting back to Albert Bourla now at the?
Yeah.
In other words, she's monetized. She's got all. Because I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're correcting me, that the majority of people would want to live healthfully.
There is on the surface, but you got to ask yourself, how is the MAGA movement even a thing? And I don't mean that in a condescending way. I mean that it actually took us to get so far from health and well-being in this country that a political movement, a political movement organization tipped the scales of human history just by professing to try and make people healthier. I mean, that's how far we got away from health even being a priority. What we eat, what we watch, the way we think, the way we live. You know, our entire organization of society is antithetical to human well-being and health in some ways. And they fence it as, modern technology is going to make you more healthy than ever. AI is going to be able to solve cancer like this. And maybe it will. I'm sure there'll be a whole host of new health problems that come along with it that we don't know, or maybe somebody does know.
It's not going to solve it for them people living up in Arcade.
Well, that's right. And that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole other.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do people really care about, you could separate people into two basic groups, people that are very conscious of the privilege and miracle of being alive, and people who dismiss it and are kind of, apathetic or even nihilistic about it. And there is while I do think, like, let's say, I don't know the exact numbers, but if I had to guess, I'd say 50% of people care. I'll say 60% of people care. One way or another, they care. They have deep care and sort of consciousness about the human condition and existence. There's a 40% of people who are increasingly suicidal, increasingly nihilistic, increasingly masochistic.
Don't they have a will? Is their human will leading them towards?
I think your Jewish tradition is failing you on demonic influence.
Okay, well, this is what I want to
clarify.
Because
the Jews don't really deal with the demonic and the angels like the Catholics are kind of the tip of the spear.
Well, I know. I mean, I'm in this place. I'm not really. I'm just too far away from your generation to know.
The demonic is real. You know, and once you give
So
up,
it's possession. It's kind of social
yeah.
possession. Do you know what
That's why I was able to predict the dark manifestation of Marxism that hadn't reared its
do
ugly
you know
head
what,
yet.
on every Professor Penn podcast now, I'm reading an exorcism prayer? You didn't know that. Every podcast.
Oh, well, that's real anti-Jewish of you.
It's real
You're a
anti-satanic.
Catholic.
It's really, it is a
You're a
Catholic
Jewish
prayer.
Catholic.
It's that's everybody.
Right.
Sorry out there.
That's why the Pope wears the
That's why I'm the most shadow banned person, because to me, it's all the same.
right.
This whole thing is the same.
Right.
I don't have these divisions.
There's a fight. If there's a fight between
But
good
you're
and evil.
saying that the generation is possessed, basically speaking.
Demonic influence, different than possession. There's demonic oppression. There's demonic influence, oppression, and then possession. So this is demonic influence is rampant, and so what I'm telling you is, I'm trying to inspire the 60% of the people who still are reachable. It's going to take another level of divine intervention
for the rest
to reach the demonic.
But Royce, my comment is in terms of the philosophy of republicanism, the reason these people became Republicans as a philosophy, created the philosophy, is because a hierarchy of power where you have monarchs with absolute authority and serfs that are oppressed, that are property, is unhealthy for everyone. The whole point of I'm a sovereign of my own life. What do you say about Target? Freedom of movement.
Amen.
And that's exactly
what the establishment wants to take from you now.
Now, we're not selling tires. We're talking about what we're doing with Target, freedom of movement. And we're talking about the movement of will, your free will to choose your own reality, to create your own reality. Why do you hate Jews? We're good at creating reality because there's probably demonic influence and oppression in that community. For sure there is, across the board.
For sure.
But in the essence of Christianity is to create a world where we're all brothers and sisters. That's why I say that thou shalt not kill. I mean, I know we can get down on that theologically, but we're not supposed to kill each other. Hey, okay, great. We're going to have a war. Could we please pull back from that, motherfuckers? Do we have to have a fucking civil war to solve this? When all you have to do is go to caucus and
but we may see that, and that's the final.
We
thing.
may.
That's the final thing I'll say is, in the best case scenario, let's say best case scenario where the conservative movement gets their fucking act together here, and we're not going to have some shattering event about foreign policy that's just logical. We're America first.
We get our shit together.
If let's say the conservative movement gets its shit together.
Praise God.
There is an enemy out there, the one that you're talking about who's coming, that can't be negotiated with. They do need to be vanquished.
And who is that?
The people who say, for example, that Charlie Kirk's wife and child should die too. The people who say that all white people are racist. Or the people who say that if you're a black Republican, you should kill yourself. Or the people who say that, any number of just perverse, sort of evil, demonic things. And see, movement, people are smart. People are opportunistic. The Mark Levins of the world will use the presence of pure wickedness and evil to try and justify his own political agenda and position. We see it. We're not fucking stupid. I know he fancies himself clever and smart. You're not that fucking smart. We know that there is a left-wing movement that threatens to kill us, and we're willing to unify, but we're not willing to unify under any circumstances. And that's the problem of collectivism. That's the problem of Yante culture. That Minnesota nice Yante culture is in the interest of self-preservation, we're willing to unify under any auspices. That's not Christian. We're willing to unify, but with
the principles.
With conditions. Hold the principle, move people toward the principle. And we'll even waver on the principle some, but we're not going to waver on the principle as much as we have up until this point. And I think that's the most important thing for the conservative movement to hear is we can unify against a greater threat, but we are going to have to unify, but a lot of us aren't going to unify under the old guard. We're not going to unify under the old way of things. We're going to unify under the new way of things. The new way of things is American citizens come first. America comes first. American citizens come first. Christianity's not going to play the background anymore. We're not going to play, the doormat. We're not going to be the fucking punching bag or the punchline. We're going to put Christianity out in front. We're not going to hide it. We're not going to be shy about it. And as far as the rest of the world goes, we're going to try and help promote and encourage citizens to value their citizenship the same way we want our citizens to. The answer to Burkina Faso is not in southern Italy. It's in Burkina Faso. The answer to Somalia isn't in South Minneapolis. It's in Somalia. There needs to be the rise of a Somali nationalist movement, a Somali nationalist populist movement. There needs to be the rise of a Italian nationalist populist movement, and we encourage it. But we're not going to keep continuing on this dollar empire scam, that's fundamentally tried to defame and destroy Christianity.
We're not going to unify with people who are given over to a political economy that creates unwellness.
Yes, and we're not going to unify with the anti-Kasparians either. This is one thing I really don't like. I'm as critical of the Jewish lobby as anybody out there. I've been catching hell for years. Well before I ran it for Congress in 2022, I was catching hell for talking about Epstein in 2019 when I wore the T-shirt at the Big Three. So I've been catching hell for talking about that for a long time. It really bothers me right now to see the Israel issue become so prominent that people who say they're on the right wing are finding an accord with people on the far left just around that issue. It's the same thing goes for them as the uniparty. We're not going to have a unification of the extreme ends of the political spectrum because of one issue either, like Israel. Like, for example, Anna Kasparian and Cenk and all those people at the Young Turks, those radical leftists, I don't give a shit what your opinion is about Israel. We could agree all day long on Bibi Netanyahu, the war in Gaza, the foreign policy as a whole. When you disrespect Christ, that's it. Done. There is no unity with you. And it's not just that they disrespect Christ. It's that they've made it clear there is no formation of American culture and society that embraces the Christian tradition or the Christian morals and ethics. They repudiate the ethics. They repudiate the ideas. We're not teaming up with you either. See, that scares people. Everybody right now is trying to play the field and see who can we team up with. Okay, maybe we could get with the socialist populists, the Bernie Sanders crew. Maybe they see our take on economic nationalism. And the Uniparty, they're thinking, well, maybe we agree on Israel. Maybe the Amy Klobuchars and the Tom Emmers of the world agree on Israel. So what team can we get with?
That's not maybe.
That's definite. But, we have the right wing, the just right, we have to win over a majority to save the republic and still hold the principle and move those people who can be saved towards the principles. That's the mandate of the Christian nationalists, not to team up with the fucking with the AOCs of the world because she wants to put a bill together about insider trading. I don't give a shit what you think about insider trading. You mock Christ. You regard Christianity as a fairy tale, and anybody on the right wing who wants to side with that, cool. I'm not. You get to choose what you want, but don't hit me over the head with Christ. Don't try and tell me you're doing it on a Christian basis. I'm not buying that shit at all. There is no alliance to be had with the far left that mocks Christ. Period. They could say they don't believe. That's fine. You can say you don't believe. You don't have to believe in Christ. You don't have to believe in God. But as soon as you go to mock Christ and disrespect Christ, we're going to have the same response that the Muslims have grown to create this fear of all these middle American white boomers when it comes to Islam. We're not taking the fucking, the pot shots at Christianity anymore. Don't call them a sky daddy. And I'm watching what they say on the left. So we can agree about Israel. And if you want to vote for people who won't sell out to Israel and you're on the left, fine. But just know when push comes to shove and the rubber meets the road about whether or not we're going to talk openly about our Christian faith, we're going to fucking do it. We're going to do it. And there will never be a time henceforth, where the Christians play the background. That's it. That's over. That's over. So, I don't know. And I say that for a reason, because I don't know what the political strategy is. And I think people need to take a step back from the political strategy. Everybody wants to try and piece up the math. It's like, I even see Fuentes sort of doing it a little bit. He's like, all right, well, if you're fighting against Israel, then we're with you. No, because everybody who's fighting against Israel ain't doing it on a righteous basis. We may agree, again, just like we may agree about Big Pharma. Am I going to trade Big Pharma and the medication they have now for AI manufactured medication because I don't like Big Pharma?
I don't think so.
Fuck no. Full ban on AI, full stop. If AI security because I don't trust the Muslims, or AI information gathering because it would help us pull back from our security agreement and alliance with Israel and intelligence in the Middle East. Hold the principle. You move people towards the principle. The trouble with that for most people is you may lose in the process.
But the point is, if you win by sacrificing your principles, you didn't win. Because we've been sliding towards AI since the 1800s.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this plan we're in.
Scientific method.
Oh, my God. I mean, we got
Post-Enlightenment.
See, that's why I want everybody to go to Minnesota Speaks. Please repost the links to the podcast in your personal socials, because we're not going to get a lot of help.
Right.
I mean, look what Royce just said. AI. Ban. Full stop. Oh, that's going to go great.
Oh, that's popular.
And you're going to tell me I used a word that's going to get us fucked up? Fuck you.
Yours is. They're not worried about AI being anybody getting on board with that. What you said is dangerous.
I didn't mean to. I was sorry, everybody. I was in a.
You said that they were teaching faggotry in the 1970s.
They
at the
were.
Ivy League. that's,
no. I mean, the word was wrong.
Off limits.
They were. I'm sorry.
I love it.
That was my frame at the time.
Your
Unvarnished.
anti-Jewish overlords there in Silicon Valley won't like it.
Well, gentlemen, it's your American citizens, and if you choose to be in an alternative or non-heterosexual lifestyle, I'm all for it now. I'm talking from a 1976 frame. I graduated from Highland Park Senior High School in a class of 1,104 people a year early. I graduated third in that class, not going to my senior year of high school. And in that class of 1,104 students, I will guarantee you, there was not one gay person of either sex in those, because that was a long time ago. Now, were there gay people in there? Of course there were.
Right.
But that's the frame I was coming out of in 76. And when I went out to the East Coast from St. Paul, Minnesota, what? What is going on? See, I knew there was homosexuals intellectually. Kind of like they talk about black people.
When you came to the dorms, were they playing like Dancing Queen and Shaka Khan and all the...
Well, don't besmirch Shaka Khan like that.
Oh, Shaka Khan's become a gay anthem.
Not then.
I know it was, because it just had come out then.
That's correct. Right. No, and you know what?
How'd you know they were gay?
I walked into my freshman psychology class, the first day of class.
Yeah.
And it was hotter than fuck. It was, Philadelphia. You know how hot Philly is. You live there.
Oh, yeah.
Over 100 degrees. And I had on cutoffs and a T-shirt.
It sounds gay already. But
what? Well, I didn't know. Shit. And T.C. Sheng turned around and put his hands on the inside of my thighs. I never talked to this motherfucker. The first word out of his mouth, when I say recruitment, he said, "Do you know you're a woman in a man's body?" I said, "No." No, I don't know that. What do you mean? I freaked out because I was from St. Paul, from a very religious community, and we didn't act like this, okay? So when I say there was pressure to assimilate into that community, it was run by those professors. This Marxist identity politics was born on the campus when I was a student there.
Wow.
I watched it in its infancy.
Wow.
And, there was a lot of downstream casualties, because guess what happened in 1981? I mean, motherfuckers were dying left and right.
HIV.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you, it was a different time, and I was pressured, and I resisted the pressure. And unlike a lot of the other people that said they tried it, I didn't try it. Fuck that. In fact, I left because I couldn't handle it. I went to the University of Minnesota because it was so fucking intense when you get into these small cloisters.
I just want to tell you, the way you described that sounded very homoerotic.
Man,
you said you couldn't handle the pressure. You said
800 fucking
you said
students, 800 male students.
No, I mean there's a physical kind of connotation when you say I couldn't handle the pressure.
Oh my God, man!
It kind of sounded pretty sketchy there. We would say pause. In the black community.
I was 16 years old. I was being recruited, and I didn't even know there was such a thing. It was fucking awful.
By the gay fraternities.
Yes.
Of the Ivy League.
By the fucking professors. Here, I went to freshman philosophy class. R.E.A. Cosman. Hey, you want to get high? Hey, fuck you. You're here to teach me philosophy. Why am I getting high with my professors? This shit was fucked up.
Wow.
So, hey, you know what I did? You're right. We're the gangsters. Okay, because my identity was challenged.
Yeah.
And I said, no, fuck.
Give me the grit of the streets.
Teach me how to kill people.
Maybe that's why a lot of young black men are choosing for the gang lifestyle, because so many white liberal women want to turn them into homosexuals.
I can't believe that when I see that in social media. Because when I was young, there was such things didn't exist, okay?
I don't even mean homosexual, like men having sex with each other. I mean public, like outwardly.
Not male.
Yes. There's difference.
For sure. Hey, when I went to college, every black man in that school was just like you. I told you right up, I like you because you remind me of...
They were militant.
Fuck big afros with picks
Fight the
in
power,
there.
the whole deal.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It was great. And then now I look at it and I just saw, I don't know if it was bullshit, but I think I saw LeBron James wearing a fucking purse. Did I see that correctly?
It's been another episode of He's Calling Me Crazy. Brought to you by Free People Radio. 2.5 hours in. LeBron James with the purse is where we're going to cut the podcast right here.
Shit.
Right here is a perfect spot to say goodnight. Thanks for being in the studio again, Professor Penn. We'll do a part 3. People were asking for part 2. I apologize that it took us until Friday to get to it, but I think it was worth it. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed you giving us your insights on the Jewish identity at such an important time in this country's history. Really, it is. It has become the issue, whether people like it or not, and we have to discuss it. And we need people who are reasonable to do that. Not that Tucker's not, or Nick Fuentes isn't saying things that aren't true, and even Ben Shapiro might make some good points. Mark Levin makes some points about the dangers of Islam, but it's a conversation that's going to continue to happen. And obviously I'm on the America First side. There's no.
So am I.
They pushed us onto the side because you can't even ask the question. But the conversation, again, we do have to find a unity because we do face a much bigger opponent, but not at the expense of the principle. So I hope you enjoyed it tonight. Another episode of HEBROES. Thank you, Professor Penn. The podcast, Professor Penn podcast, 7 p.m. Central on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Real America's Voice, the Royce White Show at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Hey, you love Royce? Go buy some tires from Target. He needs it. He needs support.
Yeah.
He never talks about it. I'm here. I'm shilling. Please. The channel needs your support. Go buy a T-shirt. You're going to need tires for fall. It's going to be winter soon. Please. Yeah, thank you very much. Because you know what we're going to do with the money? We're going to expand the programming and give you more opportunity to join an organizing principle. Right. We're here to organize our communities. That's it.
You all got to buy tires from somebody. You might as well
buy them from us. Because the freedom of movement
is in jeopardy. No doubt.
And what is freedom of movement? It's free will.
Amen. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate your viewership and listenership today and in the future. That was great, man. Great Professor Penn in the studio today. HEBROES, going right to the heart of the Israel issue, laying it out.
1976, 1967.
Laying it out.
Planting trees in Israel as a 5-year-old. Come on.
Come on.
We're going to keep talking about it because you know what? There's so many Jewish people that need
permission.
They need the strength
to
start. Because you know what? The people are going to make the change, or guess what? We're not. It's, it's very binary. This is very binary.
Yes.
Plus, minus.
Tell the truth.
Or fuck off. That's it.
Or not.
Right. We'll just all go away.
Yeah.
That's where they want us to go away. Float away.
We all choose how we die now. That's for sure.
That's like President Erdogan. I've been in Turkey many times, and I saw this woman there. There was a giant fucking protest against Israel. And they interviewed this young Turkish woman, and they said, well, what are you going to do? She said, I don't want it to happen, but the Jews just need to disappear. They just need to disappear. Where else have we heard that?
That would be Bibi Netanyahu.
Right. Everybody wants everybody else to disappear. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Maybe we should unify and not have.
Maybe we should calm the fuck down.
That's right.
Yeah, your bloodlust is showing. It's getting a little bit out of control. All right, everybody, calm the fuck down, relax. I was always a good peacemaker in the neighborhood. Calm down. It ain't that serious.
Yeah, it helps to be 275 making peace. Yes, it does.
It does. Also helps to be Christian, but.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you,
guys.
Have a great
God
weekend.
bless. Godspeed. God bless America. We'll see you all next week.
Everything's up on the bar. We're all in. We get to decide. Do you want to live on your knees, or do you want to die on your feet fighting? That's the decision you get to make now.